There is RCY coming up from the south as well, but still feels like they need the full 5-man to really do much of anything here, so it might still be a sacrifice of the tower, and well, now I have other questions, because if you weren't going to commit for this tower defense, why are there 4 heroes up here?
Yeah, and now the tower goes down, now you lose the outpost. Ravens, they're just playing by the books. It's textbook Dota at this point. And Dogchamp, until they have that Blink Dagger on Italiano, it's not like they're going to catch anybody off guard. I feel like that's where you try to rush this Blink Dagger, you try to find a kill on the Void Spirit before it's too late, because Nengo Flow, if he gets this Kaya Sanj, if he gets a BKB, it's a few too many items, and then suddenly the team fight is just too hard for you to actually take as bottom.
Stonebank. He's
Oh,
got
he's gonna be able to get the
BKB.
leap off. Oh no. Well, here's your 9-second.
Better than dying, I guess, but yeah, that's going to reset the potential aggression from Dogchamp. They're really struggling at this point, and that's a Blink Dagger out from Dismar, so well, back in the laning stage, you know, talked about Dismar. Always someone who likes to sort of play aggressively in that position for a role. Now he and Benjas have blinks, so that combo, to be honest, we haven't seen it that much, ET, the Roar Mystic Flare sort of duo, but with the momentum that they now have and Blink Daggers on both, we should probably be seeing it a little more often here, as they're going to 3-man smoke, they're going to push their way mid. Yarn's not exactly a super valuable kill, but it's a free kill, and they'll take it.
Yeah, and I think for the case of the Blink Dagger, just having a instant Ancient Seal Silence and RCY. Well, and that was him trying to Ravage, and now they know about the Tides Blink. Oh goodness, everything is just falling apart, and with 2 waves pushing in, they'll just stay around this Ancient area while Dad takes out the bottom tower. You can look to swing mid as well, and all of your tier 2s are just falling by the wayside.
Yep. That play is just mistimed just a little bit, but that's all it takes. And RCY, I mean, he's got a BKB queued up now, but there's literally no progress towards it whatsoever. He had spent all his money, so this is it's an interesting blink, but if you just get jumped like that, you're not getting out, and you're going up against that Void Spirit with the Aghanim Scepter. Chances are he's going to get to you before you have a chance to blink away 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, and they do mop up that Tombstone. They decided to settle for getting Glyph and then refocusing on mid because they just have a choke on this game still. They would love to just blink Ravage the Void Spirit, but they know that that's going to cost them another smoke to close the gap here. And yeah, they're going to attempt it, but this is a situation where they do not want the Luna. They cannot afford to cast everything on her. And now they're going into it. They get vision of the Skyreth Mage, but this is just not enough.
They just use Solar Bind on the illusion, so it's just getting a little bit tough here at this point. And if you're Dogchamp, if you haven't found the play by now, maybe it's time to pull the plug on this and fall back. Looks like they are kind of starting to do that, but as they pull back, Ravens, they're looking to push forward. They realize, hey, if they were here, they're still hanging out as Stonebank popped his BKB.
Find the Void.
Okay, can they get the kill? They're very nearly there, and they've got it. Nango Flow taken down. They do lose RCY in the back line, though, but well, without the Void Spirit, I don't think Ravens can take that any further. So it's just a trade, and Dogchamp should get more gold than their opponents out of that, but that's assuming that they actually get out of here safely, because Dodge just says, let's go. We found Italiano Gangster. They're going to be able to eventually finish him off, taking a little bit of time. There we go. Dodd gets the kill, but he wants even more, and Dogchamp, more heroes are out of the base than in it. They just cut the tree. Stonebank is down. He does have buyback, but if he uses it here, ET, he's just going to destroy his own net worth.
No, this is where they have to get carried by the RCY Invoker, but the supports are tapped, and Spirit Form just ended. He'll have it another 9 seconds, but this is where you've got to use the Glyph. It's going to be so hard now, though. The Glaives are bouncing. It's where Luna is really just in her own league, and now there's your Meteor combo. They need to get Force Staff out. The Force Staff will come through, but I feel like the escape is just going to happen in Yarn. So far forward, but there you go. Manta's out. He has to retreat. He might not be able to stick around for the Rax. It's getting scary, and yeah, the Rax will survive with the Tidehunter coming back up, but Nengo Flow is also here. So if you don't have a BKB, watch out. You could feed right now and then just throw immediately everything away, because there's no room for error. You don't have Glyph. You can't die on your side of the map right now versus Luna.
And Yengo Flow has a haste rune bottled up here as well. So if you are going to leave the base, which Dogchamp are currently doing, you have to be so unbelievably cautious, so wary. Of course, there's a bit of good news for them. The Void Spirit went all the way down to the bottom lane, so they should know he's not in a position to immediately jump them. That also means, though, this bottom lane is going to start pushing up to your tier 3.
Yeah, and, well, just means that the pressure is immediately back on. There's also a Silver Edge on Dodge, so if you just kind of pedantically just walk up, think you're okay on the Tide Hunter, you could just get Primal Roared and bursted, and then there's no Ravage in the fight, but okay, here we go. This is also a reset, though. You're getting BKBs on the Beastmaster, so then Benjaz could just stand up with Dodd in any situation. There's just not enough physical damage threat right now to really make anybody on the Raven side scared of Dogchamp. And they are in the triangle now without the Luna, and once you actually see the Luna show top, then maybe it's going to be a little bit scary. But also check this out. Dodd is baiting his illusion, who they think is the real hero, while the real hero is top. God, I hate Dota players.
Sneaky plays. Don't know if it's ever really going to matter, but if you catch Dogchamp and, they make the jump and it could get you a team fight, or this could happen. That's just Italiano Gangster straight up dead. Gone like that. Mystic Flare does a lot of the damage. Yengo Flow handles the rest, and that is a Tide dead with no buyback. And you don't have Ravage for 40. They're going to try and move in on Akara anyway. They do manage to get the kill, but here comes Dodd into the fight. Yarn's going to get blown up pretty quickly. Not actually dead yet, but he's not the target. They're trying to get onto RCY. Can Yengo Flow catch up? Well, he can. He gets another silence in, but he doesn't have the damage to finish the job. Going to be forced to retreat. B9? That, I'm not sure they knew you were there, but he's just going to try and throw out the ult. Wishful thinking, trying to go for that kill.
Ooh, and
oh, hey.
Well, there you go. Kill onto Dismar. Not bad, not bad. And they do have to be careful mid, though, but this is a little bit of a bait. Benjo's just got his BKB, so they actually can't kill him all that easily, but well, the supports both go down. You don't lose that much on Dogchamp either. Italiano Gangster gets the respawn and gets to maintain a little bit of normalcy here, as well as almost being strong enough to kick them out of their triangle just yet. They're trying to inch forward, but there is still the threat of just being underneath the Hawk. And Kara, again, it's a little bit too far forward, and we'll just go down for free as Dodd. They're going to make the fight happen, though.
Yep, they're looking to push their way in here, or maybe not. Yengo Flow does actually back out with the Assimilate, rather than committing all the way in for it. Dodd didn't actually want to pull the trigger there. He did have an angle in. The Eclipse was at the ready. They thought it was a little bit too risky. Now, though, they are pushing forward. It's all going to be a matter of who they can actually find. Italiano, I mean, they've proven they're able to kill him off pretty quickly, but I don't think that's the guy you want to start the fight on.
And Ravens, they don't know about the Roche just yet, but Dogchamp scouted it out, so they know what the stakes are. But honestly, if Raven's smoke ends up being a bust, they do just go right back into the pit. And here we go, smoke on smoke action. They weren't able to clear that ward, but oh, you've got to be terrified if you're Dogchamp right now. You do not want to walk into this vision. And again, Ravens don't scout out the Roche just yet. They don't know about it, but with the Forge Spirits walking in, now they're going to check. Well, Dogchamp, what do you got left? It's about to be daytime. Do they have one more smoke? They do on Bloody 9. So this is going to be probably your big moment to turn this game around or fall even further behind, because I don't think you can survive another Luna Aegis push, as Satanic finished on that as well. No buyback on the Luna, so if you get her once, then maybe this will be your opportunity, but Board Sentry plays.
Pick up the tree. Ravage comes in, trying to save the day, but it's not enough. Stonebank's already dead. Buys back immediately, looking to TP to the outpost, but while he does, Destroyer, he's going to get destroyed. RCY taken out. And ET, this fight may already be over. Italiano Gangster's trying to get away, but he is slowed up by just about everything in the book.
Yeah. Wow.
That's it. GG called, and, well, didn't get to see them for a couple of days. ZT Ravens more than make up for it. Solid showing here in Game 1 as they prove why they're really one of the top teams in the event so far.
Yeah, and I think now, I don't know what it was with that Monkey King pick, but something fell wrong. I don't think Stonebank was necessarily pushed to his limits either ban-wise. Just end up going for a hero that not only doesn't feel good, but I think is almost a ruiner in the draft. It just means that there's not really that much to play for, and playing against the big dog in the tournament, you can't afford mistakes like that in the draft. But yeah, I don't know. I wish I could ask somebody about that Monkey King pick because I'm just over here scratching my head. Even if the lane was a little bit favored for the Monkey King, and of course, a little bit favored, it's Monkey King. It's gonna be favored versus a melee offlaner at least a little bit, but just wasn't able to shut out Benjaz in the slightest. And then you play in a game where you can't get a Wukong's command ring off ever. It feels like you
Yeah.
need a blink dagger on the Monkey King to just follow the tide into the room. But yeah, no, unfortunate set of circumstances. But hopefully, Game Two's draft is a little bit better because that was just, I don't know, game losing.
Yeah, they just didn't have anything to work with on that one. But, well, you can chalk it up to that, right? If you're Dog Champ, we tried our best execution-wise with a draft that was a little bit questionable. So, moving into the next one, put this loss out of your mind and try to come up with something a little bit more stable. In the meantime, Ravens, well, back in the win column, and with this victory, they have guaranteed that their status as the only team to not get 2-0'd is going to continue. I don't think they particularly care too much about that trend, but the points are what matter for them. They got one already. They're going to be looking for two here, as we are going to be moving into our final game of the day. It will be that second match between Ravens and Dog Champ. It's coming your way in really just a couple of minutes here, so stick around, and we'll be right back. Will it be the Pango for them? Do they now have to think about that more with the Bat Rider picked up, or what else were they looking for? Okay. Well,
There's
that's
the counter pick.
not a fun
Yeah.
time now on Dog Champ.
And they did have an option there, right? They could have, in the same vein as the Queen of Pain, banned the Slark out and then gone for the Bat Rider here. But, of course, wanting to keep it flexible with the laning situation, they let it through. And this is where, again, Dog Champ, did you pick your hero just one pick too early where you're in Captain's mode? Are your opponents really just going to punish you everywhere here? Because, well, this is the easy punish. And then that Bloodseeker ban makes maybe a little bit more sense here. They pick up the CM as well, round out the lineup. And now Dog Champ say, well, what do we want Stonebake to play versus this Slark? Because, well, that's our best option. Because we're all still, and will still, look to try and make these counter picks work out coming into this final phase. But, I don't know, Raven's lineup's just looking at you and saying, show me what you got. And I don't know what Dog Champ have left, because everything is just annoying to play into. You cannot pick Juggernaut. You cannot really pick Troll. You would want to pick a hero like Faceless Void, but, you know, that's why it's gone already. So, I don't know. This is just a real tough spot to be in again.
Yeah. They've got some hard decisions to make here. Maybe you can dodge some of these laning matchups, but the actual hero versus hero is still going to be there eventually. So you have to decide, what are you okay with sort of trying to power your way through, or what lane would you potentially sack? Although Dog Champ are going to pull it back a little bit with that pick. The Enigma, which, yeah, was not banned out, had not been receiving much attention. Dog Champ are going to give it a go. Of course, you do have to be a little bit careful here because you're playing Enigma into a Visage, so you need to very much be aware of the position of those familiars, but gives Dog Champ another sort of form of just massive amounts of teamfight and lockdown.
Yeah, and I understand why they go for it, because this is a hero that can actually kill Slark, can actually pin him down. But as soon as they pick up the Enigma, you know, lock. Everything is now rigid. It is mid Bat Rider. It is 4 Tiny.
Right.
It is 3 Enigma. Everything becomes apparent to Ravens. And it's why now it's just a matter of banning out heroes and seeing if Ravens have enough bans. Because, well, you think about it, they've been banning carries up until this point. Will there be something for Stonebank left in the pool here? They ban out the PL for pretty obvious reasons, just something that the Visage cannot contend with ever. And it makes you think, are we perhaps going to see a Naga Siren coming through in the final phase? You know, some Naga Siren Enigma action, some a little bit of combo play going out, or do they decide to change things up, go for something a little bit more active? Well, we'll have to see, and have to see what Ravens also ban out here. Meanwhile, for Dog Champ, they're just going to stick with the Nengo Flow bans. They need Nengo Flow's hero. Of course, Nengo Flow has also been shoved aside. There's still the Invoker, there's still Lena, and there is still Void Spirit, so could see him go for just one of those three, plain and simple. But again, we'll have to see. And Puck, okay, solid ban. Probably more alluding to what kind of hero Stonebank would play, because rest of the lineup I don't think really cares too much about that.
Well, Puck taken by the wayside. Now we'll see Raven's final ban here. What else are they worried about from Stonebank? talked about the Naga Siren. Could potentially ban out that. I suppose, technically speaking, you know, we've mentioned it repeatedly now. You know, there is things like a Morphling in the pool. So between those two, I feel like you're more concerned with the Naga ban than a Morphling, but it's going to be neither one. It's going to be the Jug instead. So damage-wise, I feel like that's maybe a step down from the heroes we were talking about, but the durability would make it a little harder for Ravens to punish him.
Yeah, and okay,
Okay,
like the
good ban.
Pango ban, yeah, just covering their bases yet again, and fast pick.
Okay.
Gonka. No, can't go really wrong there. Does need to be a little bit careful. Of course, any melee hero versus Bat Rider is going to have to be a little bit more patient and let those stacks actually reset. You can't get too greedy with it, otherwise you do get forced to TP back to your tower. You know, you end up taking a little bit too much damage, and you could pretty easily feed in that lane. But now for Stonebank, we're back to this question. Is it the Terror Blade? Do we see them gamble everything on that? Is it the Weaver? Probably not. It's where, honestly, just getting any matchup he's going to feel comfortable with. It's going to be nice, but I can't even fathom it. And it's just Stonebank Ursa. I mean, it's simple. It's plain. Your push is not the best on Dogchamp. That's going to be Italiano Gangster's job pretty much the entire game, but something to kill Roche, I suppose. Something to play for, but I don't know. I think that hero is going to struggle a little bit to maintain his position and maintain on anybody in this game. It's where you're playing versus Benjaz's Visage. You're just going to get stunned by the birds. You're going to have complete knowledge. Not to mention, you're also playing versus Kunkka. So anytime you go in, unless you're getting your BKB off very early, and especially pre-BKB, and Rage does not do anything to that X marks. You are just going to start to get kited. It's where Dad has a pretty nice build-up as well. Just looks for probably BKB Halberd, and then suddenly Stonebank doesn't really want a team fight. I don't know. I do think that Ravens are going to struggle maybe a little bit more with the... And actually, okay, Dodd is the Kunkka, and Nengo
okay,
flows
thank
the
you.
Slark. Okay.
I was wondering if I
That's
was
what I
seeing
thought they were
things.
going to do as well. But okay. There you go. There's your counter. I don't know. Ravens with first pick, countering out the team with last pick. How does this always happen?
Oh, man. Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. We'll see, though. We saw something kind of similar, right, with Guts and Mini, where they picked what we thought were going to be each other's heroes, but then they both still went to the opposite lane. So maybe something similar to play out here, or just kind of a swap for the lane matchups. We'll have to see. But in this instance, Dogchamp, it's gonna be tough. And I think the number one thing about that Ursa, right? You were talking about it. It's not bad, but it's also not very good. It was just, here is a hero that we can pick that will not lose us the game inherently, but Stonebank's not going to have, you know, the smoothest of paths to victory on this hero.
Yeah, and then at the same time, like now the Kunkka pick makes a lot more sense because it's just gonna have to be Enigma offlane, and you know, it's something that a lot of SA teams don't actually go for. I feel like that's where the last pick Gyro Carry has been slightly more popular than the carry Kunkka, but then you look at teams like Infamous and Thunder Awaken, and you realize that with how popular Kunkka is for those lineups, they do just flex it sometimes. Their carry players can play Kunkka because, well, it's a strong laner, it's really annoying, and if you can swap up the lanes last second like they have, then you get very ideal lane setups like, again, they also have. But we'll have to see what they actually end up to do here, and whether or not, I guess, you can really just find those black holes come mid-game. But coming out of the lanes, you know, you gotta favor Ravens so much here.
This feels like they have a pretty sizable advantage. Let's see if they can actualize that. As Boundary Runes, even split, 2-2. Dismar, where is he going right? Just gonna try and get the D ward. Yes, he is. Okay. Nice play there. A little bit of extra gold into his pockets. B9 is technically tracking him, but he's not going to get close enough for any damage. And settle into the lanes, which might be a tri-lane attempt at first blood here, because Kara has snuck his way up here, and nobody saw him. Quick kill onto Stonebank would be big. They're going to try for it. He even skilled up the dispose. That's a little bit awkward with the positioning, but they should still have it.
Yeah, no. Free kill. Soul Assumption. Kara's gonna probably look to TP out pretty soon, but oh, he's gonna hide in the trees, and now they're going to be very patient, and there is musical lanes going on, because right now they're trying to keep this situation with the Kunkka versus
Oh,
the
no.
Enigma and the Slark versus the Bat, but yeah, okay, at least it wasn't on a stone bank. A die, TP die this early on would be a tragedy, but it's musical lanes. They can just stay here. Kara is not necessary right now for anybody to make these lanes happen, and we will see probably the swap happen yet again here, but I mean, here we go. How much farm is Stonebank really going to get whenever they're just going to maintain these heroes? And, well, usually there's only 2 heroes in the lane, but the CM's pulling right now while Stonebank eats a ton of damage, and the creep wave is already pulled back. So, I mean, this is just a huge success. Kara does the support job, now comes back bottom. Still have to see that lane swap up of the Sark and the Kunkka probably trade, but I don't know, we'll see what they decide to do now that Kara's in the lane.
Yeah, the presence of the CM might be enough when Yengo Flow just says, maybe I stick here, but we shall have to see. But that was 2 kills. I guess in terms of potential downside, it's that Dismar was the one to get both of those, so I don't know. The Marcy does eventually get a little bit aggressive, right, with the BKB and the Basher build, but that's still a long ways off, although with Stonebank getting bullied like this, man, timing for Dogchamp's going to look kind of awful. He's at least finding some last hits, so this isn't a complete failure of a lane, but we already said Stonebank was going to have difficulties, right? Now, you don't even get a stable start to your lane.
Yeah, no, and of course, the reason why he has any last hits is because Visage, as we keep talking about, does not have very much base damage. You are just extremely weak early on, but with these creep pulls keep getting off, and just gonna get the soul XP, and do they meet the creeps? Okay, yeah, they go for it, and damage again, traded onto Stonebank, gonna be a big soul assumption. Batty has a big stick, so should be able to walk this one out, but it's still just Stonebank getting rushed off of those creeps, as that's a flag bearer creep as well. You'd love to get it, but the denies come through, and Stonebank just has to waltz back to where the creep wave's supposed to usually be, but still not finding that much farm.
The good news right now, if your Dogchamp, is that, for the moment, Benjes is out of mana. We'll see if he brings out any, sort of mango play to him, but it means for the time being they can sort of rest easy knowing that that aggression's not going to come out onto them again. But it's just been so consistent to this point. His bottom lane, an attempt will be made onto Kara. There's going to be the toss back, and I think at this point, yeah, Kara just recognizes he is going to die, tries to set up a kill for Ningo Flow. But he's not quite fast enough here on the Slark. The boots for Yaren helping to keep him alive.
You come mid and hold hands with me?
Nice play, nice toss back. Italiana Gangster is rocking it, because of course, while everybody's rotating around, he's just playing Enigma, denying absolutely everything, and probably a good few of those are also his Eidolons killing themselves, but that's where we'll have to see, because he is off to an absolute stellar start. And with that, and he also rotates mid for just a sec, seeing if you can maybe catch the Kunkka in a mistake, but things will begin to settle down just a little bit here.
So yeah, the first 2 kills of the game go to Ravens off of that sort of sneaky tri-lane play, but since then, settled down a bit. Dogchamp are farming. The Ursa in particular has just kind of really bounced back as, Ningo Flow. Ava, toss, not enough damage just yet, but he has no pounce. He's not getting away.
No, another nice kill there. Again, Italiana Gangster, super strong. Just Yaren needing to find those tossbacks. That'll just continue to happen here. And with the Tranquils, yeah, that will happen. But got to continuously punish this Slark. Really set Dad off to a slow one as you look across the map. And, well, same story. Yeah.
Bit of an interesting choice, but...
And then they walk, and then they TP.
What's going on
but
here?
With the nighttime...
You come mid and hold hands with me?
He's trying to sort of slow RCY down, but now the bat's going to go in. But with Yengo Flow here, yeah, this is going to get a little bit awkward. It's rooted in place. Where's the pounce? 3 seconds. Kara's not going to last that long, though. Yaren comes in. He's got to try and back off. Dodd's now coming in as well. The Torrent's going to hit onto RCY. Can he get anything going here? He has no ghost ship. Level 3 Tide is a decent amount of damage, but not enough. But here comes Dismar. Rebound in. Misses on the stun, though. But the move speed might allow Dodd to just keep on chasing. This is still not an easy kill. Torrent gonna come out again. Not gonna connect. I don't see how RCY genuinely makes it out of here. He needs to buy time for a TP that he should not get with Dismar on him, but maybe he finds a hiding spot. Honestly, this looks like as good a spot as any. There it is. He'll TP himself away, and he somehow survives that.
No, and almost was a punish there because of how fast Nengoflo had actually rotated. And actually, with the Italiano Gangster TPing bottom, well, he will notice that, yeah, it's still musical lanes right now. Musical lanes that the Enigma is still having a absolute blast in, but he has never had the lane versus the Kunkka yet. He has just continuously been farming. You haven't seen Dodd actually able to make that rotation, so in doing so, sure, got some levels, and actually the Kunkka finally makes his way here, and if they kill Italiano Gangster, the musical lanes are done. This would be huge, and he's got the ghost ship, but without a friend, well, let's see it. He's gonna kill the Eidolons, there you go, and then as soon as he gets that TP, I feel like Italiano Gangster might just leave, but we'll see, because RCY, he doesn't have a TP right now, so they can't continuously do that. As top, oof.
They're able to get onto B9. Nice little bit of damage there out from Benjaz. Stonebank now, without his backup, is going to be sort of clearing out of the area as well. So, not a bad play there for Ravens, but they're going to need a little bit more, and they might be getting more. Dismar just TP'd bot. Love to make that punish play, as you mentioned, onto Italiano. Kara is going to just sort of act as the bait. There's going to be Dismar jumping in. That's going to set up for the torrent. The ghost ship comes in now as well. The Enigma should go down here. B9's going to try to come in to help, but he's a little bit too late. Kara does have to sacrifice his life for this, but it's the trade that Ravens wanted. Don't think they can go in again, though.
No, but got exactly what you wanted. Killed the Enigma. See if they do a another lane swap up here, but this was also a huge timing for Nengoflo. Even though originally he had a TP in lane versus a Batrider who was 2 levels above him, and he still had a little bit of a level deficit, he's been able to recover quite nicely, and that's where the road to recovery is just coming in sooner and sooner. And they do decide to just TP and now sit in their lanes, which is smart, but also Benjaz gets a 6 top, so the birds are online.
Question now is, does he look to make any sort of move with them? Because he doesn't have any backup in this top lane. Yarn comes in, drops the avalanche. Benjaz is getting very low, but the familiar stun comes through. Kara's going to arrive. Can he actually help Benjaz? Kara? Not sure where his camera was. He just walks past the heroes, and now he might die too.
Ooh, bird stun in 1.
Still going to be able to get it. Avalanche is there. Dismar's going to look for a little revenge, though. Does he have the damage by himself? He might. If he hits with the rebound, he will. And it's actually the familiars that get it done. But that was very strange. Kara just kind of walked past the initial fight. I'm pretty damn sure he had his camera in a different lane. But, well, Dogchamp are able to sort of keep even here in terms of the kill count. You take a look at that team fight recap, and it's a little bit Ravens favored, but oh, it's going to be a lot more Ravens favored if they find this kill. RCY caught in the middle lane. Dismar and Nengoflo combine forces for the kill, and okay, just a casual route onto B9 at the end there. Not going to turn into anything else.
Yeah, and as we always talk about with musical lanes, the supports end up being the big winners because there's the ones to anchor down all of that XP, and currently you're just seeing a lot of rotations coming out from both sides, but it is a matter of whether or not I think Yaren can live up to now. You've gotten out-rotated by Dismar twice. Can you get any more plays going for the Tiny is going to be the next question, but we'll have to see because, again, more TPs come through. Now the Batrider's playing bottom after dying. Italiano takes over mid, and now Nengoflo is going to be upset, but Dodd with Boat, they could just look for a kill into RCY, and this could really slow down the Batrider, but we'll have to see. They got to butter him up a little bit before they go for it.
Dismar is just going to wait in the wings, but Nengoflo mid gets taken down. Italiano Gangster hits him with a black hole, and, well, wasn't sure he was going to have enough damage by himself, but he does manage to make it happen. And now, yeah, they're going to try to make the counter move down bot. They go in with that Ghost Ship X combo. They find the kill, and
oh, and Dismar.
wow. B9 just getting beat up a little bit. Here comes Dodson. Thanks for the free kill, teammate. They do walk away from that one. The victors up in the top lane, though. Another potential fight. Kara was able to push it onto Yarn a little bit there with the help of Benjaz. They can't find the kill, and now they will be falling back. But who's coming along? Italiano Gangster looking for the high ground. Doesn't have Black Hole now, and they should know that, but at this point he doesn't have any teammates here, so it's time to back off.
Yeah, and so much damage actually, and got to see the Visage nerf a little bit there, because Benjaz's bird did just die because went out of the range of the Gravekeeper's cloak. It's 900 range instead of 1200 before, so do have to be mindful of that, because those birds are paper thin, especially level 1 birds, until you get maybe a few more points up in the Gravekeeper's cloak, but slight change. Feel it a little bit.
It's not quite as tough as they used to be, as well, when they're that far away. But in the meantime, Ravens, oh, just trying to farm up a little bit, right? They did use a lot of their big spells across those last couple of engagements, but while they wait and farm, see Dogchamp trying to get aggressive. Yarn's on the hunt, dropping down some wards. Meanwhile, his teammates trying to put a little bit of an emphasis on this tower push, which is an aspect of this Dogchamp lineup that is unbelievably weak. If Italiano Gangster's not there, then your pushing power really just kind of falls off a cliff, but they're hitting it. Progress is technically still coming, but that glyph is going to slow them down.
No, it's definitely not the fastest push in the world, but it is a push that they have to make here. As, ooh, Kara. And that's getting enigma'd. What can you do?
Whole lot to be done now. It's going to have to eat that death. Tower goes down in the bottom lane, so Dogchamp are able to scrape together a little bit more of a lead here, as it does crack that 1k mark, but want a little bit more than that. Look at Yaren trying to get in position. This ward, though, makes him the least sneaky tiny in the world, but it is worth noting for Yaren, he's only about 500 away from that Blink Dagger, which, considering the fact that he has gotten 0 farm, he's got 8 last hits, he's been able to make this still in a pretty good time. 4-0-2 really kind of helps out with that, finding the kill gold, but it's going to be big for Dogchamp if they can get that Blink Dagger up and if they can keep their support safe, because B9 is not able to do a whole lot about that. Doesn't have a point in the Untouchable even, so just an easy kill for the Slark.
No, it's very easy, and yeah, Yaren is going to have to be the playmaker for his team, especially whenever there is that downtime in between black holes, but that's why he's got the mid lane, because Italian Gangster can jungle and Tiny cannot, so Yaren's going to be able to finish it up here pretty soon, but that's where we should have a pretty big clash here. Black Hole just came up off cooldown, so if Benjaz wanted to get aggressive onto that mid tower, it's going to be responded to with that ability, but that's where Wraith Pact also finished. Italiano is willing to brawl. He is incredibly strong right now. He's also still probably the highest level in this game. He's just been able to farm and do pretty much whatever he wants, but bottom, there's no tower here. There's no more help. I wonder if you just look to get away now. Dismar is here, but okay.
They're going to try and take the fight now. They've already lost Kara, but they trade him out for RCY. There's going to be the Avalanche, though, into the toss. Pulling Dismar back. And there's no way the Marcy gets out of that one, but he's going to act as enough of a distraction to get everyone else away. Although, if he had a creep wave, maybe he could do some sort of rebound play, but as it stands, he should eventually get run down. He has no TP. And yeah, that's exactly what happens. Yarn gets the kill, and now the toss onto the Slark, who does not want to be here anymore, but he's not really going to have a choice. I don't really know why he came back at that point.
Yeah, he got really hard punished. He just wanted to try and give Dismar a rebound target, but then ended up just dying in a very dramatic fashion. But, you know, he's not the carry. He's the mid laner. You know, that's the thing you got to keep reminding yourself here.
Right.
Dad is the carry. He's the one who's farming, and he is pretty nicely farmed on the Kunkka, but that's where we'll have to see, because the Sark is definitely not panning out right now, and there is a Battle Fury now completed on Stonebank, who is playing the more traditional carry, the more traditional hero. It is his choice, the hero of choice that he will always go for, but with that Blink Dagger as well, he'll be able to start some team fights, but this is Smoke with Tiny Blink. They're looking for the Ancients, looking for kills here. I don't know if they want exactly Kunkka, but oh!
Gotta watch out for that Black Hole threat. They can't group up too heavily as the Ghost Ship comes through. Ara's the only one to die there, and Italiano, he was kind of hoping for it. Hoping that Dodd commits fully for that fight, but they don't get that commitment.
Yeah, and they do split very nicely. Without that, I think Italiano probably would have just sent it, but
Uh-oh.
mid,
Avalanche.
don't even have to use it.
Ava tosses in. He's going to toggle the armlet a little bit. That's going to force out a lasso, but they do still find the kill. B9, he gets picked off elsewhere, but it's really not going to be a worthwhile trade. They would need much more than that, but Yarn's in a little bit of a tricky spot. He's able to blink himself out of it, however. And Dogchamp get away with pretty minimal casualties. Okay. Yarn tries to toss away those heroes chasing after him. It's not really going to work, though. He is still in trouble, so not so minimal casualties anymore, but it's still just the two supports.
Yeah, did feed a pretty nice streak over to Nengo Flow, but don't want to be too bothered by it. And again, during all of that time, Stonebank is just farming away, super happy in his Ancients, and he does have that Blink Dagger, so could look to see Stonebank get maybe a little bit more involved. And of course, Dogchamp are always going to be fiending for kills on that top side of the map, because 1 or 2 picks, and you're probably just into your first Aegis for Stonebank. But until then, can't go into the pit versus Kunkka and Visage. It's just way too many things that could either stun you or kill you. This is interesting, though. If they decide to just smoke in and just go for it right away, they'll definitely force Ravens to, at the very least, check. And with this timing, it is kind of out of the blue, so Stonebank will just start it. And unless they get any wind, then this should just be free. And, of course, first Aegis, not the biggest game changer in the world, but you have to do this just to get the game rolling.
That's very unfortunate. They absolutely kill the hell out of an illusion, and then there's going to be the black hole onto Niengo Flow, catching out the Slark. Not finishing him, though. Hold on a second. Can the Slark somehow make it away? He did pounce already? No. B9's able to track him down, so they do still find the kill, and man, that goes about as poorly as it possibly could have. It's Aegis for free over to Dogchamp. You lose your Slark, and you exploded an Enigma illusion rather than a real hero. So setbacks, multiple setbacks now for Ravens, but maybe even more setbacks because Kara just got caught out. Benjaz is going to try to come in here looking for some sort of return play, but by himself doesn't really have the damage. You can only get the Soul Assumption down onto so many people, and it's going to force him to back off.
No, it's definitely unfortunate, but we'll have to see. Because they could also just flip the game on its head by finding Italiano Gangster early when he doesn't have his own BKB, but until they find that opportunity, they are definitely put on the defensive now. Dogchamp just have to play a nice, clean game of Dota, and then they can really make their moves. They've got 3 Blink Daggers now. They've hit a nice little item power spike. Destroyer is still trying to catch up on that Bat Rider, but they're making some pretty nice moves here. There is still a very farmed Kunkka who is becoming slightly problematic. He's got a full BKB, so he is now ready to team fight on the side of the Ravens, but nobody else really is quite as strong as him. You're still waiting for the Wraith Pack to be done on Benjaz. I think it's coming out pretty soon here, but nothing for Nengoful. The Slark is still playing quite slowly. Has to wait for a lot of his farm, and Dogchamp, they are not going to give you that time. They want to go right now and look mid. Toss back.
Toss back. Niengo Flow got off the ult, however, so he should be able to clear out. Dismar may just be sacrificed at this point. Although Dodd, there's going to be the BKB. Here comes the Ghost Ship connecting onto 3. This is getting a little bit tough. There's a channeled ult from Kara on the backline too, so they're still taking all of that freezing field damage. And Dogchamp just overplay their hand a little bit there. They needed that kill quickly. When they don't get it, they don't back off, and that's exactly the trap that Ravens were hoping to spring.
Yep, and now you get punished for only having the BKB on the Bat Rider before you go for that engagement, and they just found a ton of gold. That's a 2k shift instantly, and Stonebank just wasn't able to do anything for him. The fight was over in the blink of an eye, and, well, you're still in a good spot. You're still strong. You're still annoying, but it's a slippery slope versus Ravens. Give them one more fight like that, and then suddenly they're ahead of you, and then you're not happy with your position. Black hole's up in 15. So maybe we see a smoke from Dogchamp in just a second here. They kind of have to get Italiano Gangster onto any of these heroes, but still, watch yourselves.
He does have the Blink Dagger now on the Enigma, so yeah, he's got a little bit more range to work with, but Black Hole is up. Blink is ready. Who has... No one has a smoke at the moment, so just kind of trying to walk it in at this point, moving into the south side jungle, and The only problem with this, with the no smoke play, is that Ravens just have an incredible amount of ways to scout this out, right? The familiars could fly over, Dismar could try and get some vision and then rebound away, so I don't know. I understand not wanting to use a smoke if you don't have to, but if you don't, it feels like you just don't make a play happen. So instead, they're trying to get a little bit of pressure onto the tier 2 down in the bottom lane. They are kind of hitting up for some serious damage, but here comes the response. 3-man smoke. Who are they going to run into? They spotted Italiano. He's forced to blink away. That means that they kind of leave the Tiny behind, and yeah, Yarn's going to be the sacrificial lamb here. The tower did end up going down, though, but they've got other issues. Stonebank gets taken down. There's his first life. Dismar's just going to try and act as this buffer to keep Italiano Gangster away. But the fight is shifting a little bit closer to that Enigma, but Italiano, he's still just getting pressured. Dismar will not let him get into position, so Stonebank is all by himself, and they do take him down. Now they go on to the Enigma. Dismar is no longer the distraction. He's the assassin. And Dogchamp, well, ET, you tried to warn him. Give your opponents too many chances. Give Ravens in particular more opportunities like that, and the momentum was going to shift, and it now has shifted.
Yeah, and I understand you want to go bottom. You get the tier 2 at the end of the day as well. You're just trying to keep the game moving forward, but without taking that break and finishing off the BKB of the Enigma, well, he's just a target to get pushed away, and he doesn't even get a Blink Dagger off. It's just where he doesn't have enough damage to kill Dismar. He doesn't have enough damage to get past him either. It just ends up being one of those sad situations where they're still getting toyed with, and Ravens getting so much gold. Bot is now top of the net worth. Nice maybe toss back here onto Dismar, but the team is coming in, so watch him.
Torrent hitting onto 2 or 3. That's a tiebringer onto everybody. Dismar does die. The black hole is going to be used, though. Maybe they can turn. They've got multiple heroes stuck inside of this. Nango Flow is going to get taken down. Dodd will fall as well. Okay. Big fight now from Dogchamp. They're going to look for Kara as well. Should finish this one off. Yeah. Stonebank's in there for the pickoff, and that is, well, the exact opposite of what you needed there for Ravens. You just took back-to-back fights. Very impressive. Fantastic stuff. That does not mean that you can still send 4 heroes onto 1 target in the middle lane with no vision of the Enigma.
It just feels like they not only overstay their welcome, but also just don't get anything off. They don't get any of their BKBs through. Dad just dies so quickly, doesn't even get a boat off, and really, just because Italiano Gangster respawns, walks up to the team fight, they even run away from their own vision that they placed there. Definitely sloppy stuff, but we'll have to see, because even though it's tough to say, and of course every one fight from Ravens is more of that comeback gold going into their pockets, but deaths in this game really don't matter too much unless it's around the Roche pit. And of course, with Roche not being alive for a minute 20, it's where the stakes of this game really do lower every single time that objective is not around, with just how fast Dogchamp can take it off of a win. But it's also where you just got the Ag Slark, you just got Boots of Daring as well finished on the Visage, and of course, well, knowing they don't have Black Hole, your opponents aren't really your opponents right now, and oh, Italiano. Well, he showed for just a second, and yeah, you're gonna get eaten, and Benjaz gets his revenge tip.
Hit him up. 2 kills going their way. Well, not much to be done after those kills, though. That is the issue. As you said, kills around the Roche pit or around when Roche is alive are going to matter, but kills that don't allow them to push onto any objectives are kind of iffy as well. It's nice to get the gold, no matter what, so you still have that, but you need to be able to keep pushing, you need to be able to get onto objectives, and right now that's just not really in the cards for Ravens.
Yeah. They're still playing a little bit of that catch-up game still, but mid.
9.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
Familiars kind of come in there to try and break that up. They might end up losing them, though. They're putting some effort in to try and track these down. They will be able to get 1. The other's trying to fly away. Stonebank won't catch up to it, but now, what's going on here with Yengo Flow?
Yeah.
He's trying to look for the angle on the back line. Dismar comes in. They are catching out Bloody 9. No, they're not, because the lasso comes in. Benjaz still gets the kill from long range, but the fight is going to break out in the pit. Still no Roche alive, but they are taking that engagement. Enigma going to get caught out. Boat comes through to finish him off, but they still need to deal with Stonebank.
Oh, no.
But Stonebank's running out of time on that magic immunity, yeah. That BKB wears off, and he is just completely destroyed. And now RCY, caught by the X, pulls him back in. 2 minutes on the Roche timer. That is a merciful timer if you're dog champ.
Yeah, no, that's where you see 15 seconds and then your jaw just drops. But yeah, just a fight where they were so painfully aware of that black hole timer. I don't know who's keeping track of it, but 10 seconds left and you jump onto that Enigma not thinking you're all going to get 3-man black hold. That is just a next level of awareness coming in from, I assume, the support's taking down that timer because, yeah, that's the punish. You couldn't do anything. You were so close to being able to make that happen, but it's just not in the cards for you. They press the issue. You get punished for it. Maybe even a stroke of luck you could say for Dogchamp's sake, but even though it's big kills and, of course, even more gold for them to mess around with, until that Roshan is alive, this game is not going to be unbreakable for either side, but that's where now Basher, this Slark is so strong now. Nengo Flow is just a beast, and they're keeping this control near the Roche pit as well. Gonna take a lot for Dogchamp to actually force it away from them, and during nighttime, well, he just saw everybody. He knows where the Enigma is, and I don't know if you black hole him, but
He's gonna do it.
Oh, he reacted.
Can they even get the kill on Dyango Flow, though? No, they can't. The Torrent comes in. The Ghost Ship's going to follow, hitting up onto everybody left. Stonebank, again, is starting to run out of time on that BKB. Has to be unbelievably careful because the Enrage alone is not enough to protect him. Same trap. Not the same place, at least, but once the BKBs wear off, it just isn't enough. And yeah, that solo black hole, I actually don't know. I was going to try and frame it a little bit more positively, ET, but there's no way they have the damage to find the kill during that black hole duration.
No, and it's just a great reaction. Getting the Shadow Dance off, it was just a complete waste from Italiano Gangster. He just settled too quickly and is making that black hole play into the night. And now, well, 10 seconds up on the Roche. Have your CM just sitting in it. Yeah. Oh, and now on the run. Yeah. Then go float. This Ags is just so funny. It's such a great pickup now as well with the whole fact of getting Agi stacks off of landing pounces, but Roche is alive, it's scouted out, they all turn around. I'm assuming you give the Ag Shard probably over to the Slark as well, and the problems are just many at this point, and there is no way Dogchamp can fight for it. They'd love to, but if they do, Italiano Gangster is just more or less a passenger here. He's a spectator for the fight, because without Black Hole, he really doesn't have that much impact to give, except for maybe the Wraith Pact, but there you go. Aegis claimed, Ag Shard picked up by the Slark, Aegis for the Slark as well. Oh.
Well, Dogchamp sure as hell have their work cut out for them now. Having to potentially plan out a high ground defense against Aegis. No black hole for how long? 70 seconds, so it's going to get a little bit rough, although Ravens aren't immediately pushing for the high ground. Might take that final outer tower first, just kind of close in that ring around their opponents, and at this point, maybe find Italiano Gangster as well, because he is going for the split push game here. Does anyone want to come down here to try and catch him, though? Looks like for now the answer is no. Instead, they are sort of fanning out in the north side jungle. Not sure they're going to catch anyone out up here either, so some time bought if you're Dogchamp.
No, definitely some time that you can afford to sit on these side lanes, but that's also where Ravens, once they do close in, they will eventually make their way onto these tier 2s. RCY, though, trying to keep it in. Oh, he's hunted. He's been found. The Ags, and BKB is going to have to come out.
Yeah. The familiars are still
on the
chasing,
run, but
though.
It's just disabling his Blink Dagger. Needs one more hit. Otherwise, yeah, should just go for the TP and will make his escape. And Stonebank is able to stick on the CM. Okay, but Slark's here. Where's the black hole? Avatos, that might be Aegis, but can you stick around? No BKB on the Ursa anymore. Run away. Oh!
Well, he's not able to run away at all. They just get right back onto him. And Yaren, he was the one who ate the boat there. It just doesn't really matter. They still find the kill. He's at least able to blink home, but well, that's not going to be worthwhile, right? They lose Kara, but they find the kill onto the Ursa. It does cost them their Aegis, so maybe that makes them think twice about going on to any sort of push here. But at the same time, with the Ursa dead, unless he's willing to commit buyback ET, he's going to be off this map for a while, and without the Ursa, there is no fight from Dogchamp.
Yeah, no, they can't really afford to. There is, however, a black hole available now for Italiano Gangster, so maybe he's feeling a little bit more confident. They also do have the high ground ward, so something to maybe play around just a bit. And Dodd is walking up, and okay, they're gonna have to use
Lasso.
everything here. That's step
Black
one.
hole.
And step two.
Where's
Rest
the
of the lineup is
damage?
coming, though.
Dodd's gonna defensively boat, trying to stay alive. Will he be able to do so? No. Can't toggle the armlet, but Kara is able to channel out the ult. It gets canceled pretty quickly, but that does buy time for Nyen Flow to get in. The pounce is going to connect. Dismar comes forward as well. Gets a sidekick onto his teammate. And Italiano is not going to be able to clear out of this one. He's getting bashed up, dropped low. And they will find that kill, and now they want a little bit more. Pig pull attempt from B9 is not going to get him out of trouble. If you're Dog Champ... honestly, I don't know. You use Black Hole and you get the kill onto the Kunkka. That is great. That's impressive, but... 3 kills, and all of them going to the Visage on top of that. It's not the greatest of trade-offs, especially since you see Benjaz finished off the Ags a little while back. He's looking for a Hex now, so the Visage isn't just about defensive utility anymore. Now he's going to come searching for you.
Yeah, no, it's just a little bit too effective, and, well, really, is a black hole for a Kunkka really what you want to be using when the rest of the lineup is just so capable? And now a full Abyssal Blade on the Slark. I mean, we're just not seeing that same level of growth from Stonebank. He's finally been able to farm a little bit. It's a big reason why we didn't see him in that last fight. He just split off towards bottom instead to try and get his next item, but oh, Stonebank, you can't TP out of this.
This is
okay.
Oh my god, he's
Oh my
dead.
God.
How does he die that fast? Jesus. Well, Flow and Dismar just punched him to death, and this time around, he doesn't even have the buyback that he had last time, so Ravens are just going to keep on pushing. B9's been spotted. Benjaz is going to get onto him. Flame Break is a little bit of knockback there, but the stun's still in. The pounce connects. Dog Champ really got to stop the bleeding right now, but Italiano Gangster... Just blinking TP now. Not sure if you really want to take any risk. He's been scanned out, so they know he hasn't left yet. Oh, he's getting a little greedy. Wants the extra lane, but now he'll go for the TP.
Yeah, and you will able to just kind of escape in that situation, but there you go, BKB. Well, this is why the Enigma has been so impactful. Maybe the Eidolons, of course, you know, getting nerfed in lane has made a lot of teams just wean off of that hero, but maybe now, at least at the high ground defense, you can still feel the strength of Enigma, but I don't know, it just hasn't really been working out here. And you did lose the Aegis pretty early on into that second Aegis's life, so you kind of have to be a little chill. Your Ravens don't want to give up anything too expensive to your opponents here, but that's also where we are getting closer and closer to the realm of luxury. We've got a Blink Dagger on the Kunkka. We've got Hexes queued up afterwards. That progression is just simply not there for Dog Champ. And fighting for the high ground ward here, but watch Italiano. Oh, Blink disabled. Bird stun.
Yeah, that's a problem. He's just taken down. No buyback available, and now they're in onto more. Abyssal Blade stun onto the Enchantress, able to take her down. Dismar. Dismar is getting to that, or not getting to, he's at that point. BKB Skullbasher. This is the build for the Marcy. She is now effectively a core hero. They weren't ready for that jump in, and well, okay, Lasso's gonna be there. Stonebank's gonna get in for the damage, and that is enough to take Benjaz down. Godlike spree that they bring to an end. Honestly, without the Aegis, I don't know. If you're Ravens, do you go back in? Don't have Ghost Ship.
They're baiting. Oh, B9.
Got the X. And there's going to be the kill. They got a toss back onto Nyengo Flow, though, but look at Dismar coming in. Dispo's pulling Yarn out of the fight. He's now leashed up by the pounce. Do they want to go all the way in? Kara does, but Kara's not the damage dealer. He needs to be careful.
Watch the Enigma.
Where is Italiano? He wants his blink. Doesn't have great targets at the moment. It's just Kara that they see. Are they gonna... They're gonna let him go. They can't stop it. No first hit bash. Well, if you're Dog Champ, you know what? That's still kind of okay, right? Benjaz goes down, lots of gold into your hands, and you don't lose the high ground.
Yeah, and you give another opportunity for Italiano to try and make a play happen, even though we are getting more and more into that Doomsday territory, and Ward does die. They've got a gem now picked up, and
Hello there. How you
well,
doing? How's it
Hey.
going?
he's gonna get abyssal bladed and die.
Oh
That's
boy.
that's the that's the bad news.
I've never seen a pause timed up that perfectly. As Italiano apparently had an audio problem, but yeah, he's almost certainly dead. No way he can get off something before the abyssal comes through, right? No. Got to see his death right in front of his own eyes. In the meantime, though, that is a counterplay onto Dismar, which it's not really worth losing your Enigma, but it is worth saying, you know, Dismar is starting to get a little bit higher up there in terms of his net worth, so that's not a throwaway death from the Marcy here either.
Yeah, no. I think just got a little bit ahead of himself. Probably should have just stuck a little bit closer to the Slark, and he would have seen that that was a good 2 or 3 heroes that were looking to kill him. But well, let's see what the Roche timer is. That's really all that matters at this point, especially with how key these black holes have become. Well, if you got an Aegis, you can't black hole that person. It's where 50 seconds. Okay. Again, very fast with the timers here, and that will force Dogchamp maybe into a slightly faster reaction, but again, we'll have to see if Ravens can maintain this chokehold over this top vision, because they can. Dogchamp might not find the angle to actually get into the pit, but we'll see. Once Dismar's alive, they could also look up for a smoke as well. They know they can just kind of maintain this vision, and with Nengo Flow walking around dewarding everything, they are very aware that Dogchamp are currently playing blind, but here we go. Smoking. They have to get the hill very quickly if they do, but Har is baiting. He's saved for buyback as well, and
Yarn
there's
just
the
blinked
ops
over.
placed.
Okay, they find the first kill, then they get the lasso down. There's a refresher up on the Batrider as well, so he could be able to refresh that and go back in, but the damage is just too much. Italiano Gangster, he finally gets out the the black hole, but the damage is not here. There's just no one to help. Italiano Gangster will fall to the north. Stonebank is all alone. He's going to try and fight his way out of it, BT, but it's not a fight that he wins, and Dogchamp. So many different aspects of that fight went well for them. They just don't put them all together. And they're just going to lose way too much here. Kara gets picked off on the back line, I suppose, but look at Yengo Flow. He's just diving onto B9. His teammates are trying to deal with Yarn outside of the base. They should be able to do so, but there is a buyback coming in now from the Ursa, so they do have to show a little bit more respect here. Stonebank's not out of it yet, but what chance do they have now to contest this Roche, right?
Yeah, especially because they're just going to walk in and be like, oh, hey, he's a... Yeah, let's go, guys. Oh, and there's a regen rune as well. Nengo Flow is gone, so maybe it takes a little bit longer, but you've got AC, you've got Ags as well, and Benjaz. This is just going to be free. He's going to make his way just so that way he can actually probably pick up the Aegis. He's probably still your carrier, but what is this? Free Ags? I guess you give it to the Kunkka just because he's the one that's here, but... Now you've got waterworks you're going to have to deal with. I mean... Oh, and they do actually give the Aegis to the Kunkka.
Okay.
A decision I don't know if I entirely like, but maybe that's Nengo Flow just feeling a little unkillable. But that also makes quite a bit of sense, as also doesn't have that many slots anymore. Had to give his gem over to Benjaz because he's very quickly running out of room right now. In the bottom, oh, he saw Stonebank. Ooh, okay.
Very close call as the Stonebank Ursa's allowed to get away, but yeah, now, God, this fight's gonna get so tough, right? With that Aghanim Scepter, he's got the Torrent Storm, so anyone who isn't already BKB'd is not really gonna have any way to get into the fight, and really the primary person I'm worried about on that front is Italiano Gangster. His BKB is still at 8 seconds, so that's not a bad timer, but that means if you pop that BKB, that black hole better damn well be following in 8 seconds or the fight's done.
Yeah, and here we are. And of course, even though maybe you're not the fastest push ever with Visage Birds, with an AC, with a Kunkka that's doing easily...
What's Yengo Flow doing? He is
damage.
getting caught.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oops. Glyph comes in before the tier 3 tower even goes down, so all of a sudden, This is kind of awkward. This is also why you were saying maybe they should have put the Aegis onto the Slark, but they're going to try and force something here. B9 in some trouble, dropping low, but Stonebank is hacking away at Dismar, and they are going to be able to find that kill. Now, if you're Ravens, I don't know, do you even really want this? They do have Tidal Wave, they do have the fleet coming in, the Torrent Storm's going to be deployed, but none of that really does them any good. Kara still gets tossed up and taken down, and they have to retreat.
Yeah, Nengo Flow just kind of walked underneath an area that I think he thought was clear, but didn't have the gem to actually deward anything, so the ward just ends up surviving, and then simply he gets blink lassoed because he's underneath just high ground vision. So yeah, big turnaround, ton of XP as well, not to mention 2,000 gold gifted to the Ursa who now has an Abyssal Blade. So 30k gold be damned, because unless you can use all that to win a team fight, our buildings are still alive. Dogchamp are not out of this just yet, and that's where tools like the Black Hole, like the Refresher on the Batrider, you're starting to get over the hill where, yeah, this game gets a lot scarier for Ravens in the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, we're getting into that late game stage where things will shift, and as you said, the net worth lead is not going to matter. The only thing that matters are really itemization and buybacks at this point in the match. But Ravens, they want to get things back under control here. They're going to try and push their way up. They do spot B9, but Dodd, he's going to be forced into an early BKB, but that does allow him to get off the X. Italiano Gangster, though, pops a BKB of his own. And it looks like they're trying to get away. B9 should TP out. Italiano Gangster, though, does not. Ningo Flow gets involved, finds the pick. Yeah, RCY, time to go. He's going to TP home. Takes it out free and clear, but it looks like Ravens are going to set up for another push, but well, they're going to have to do it quickly. Minute and a half on the Aegis, and once that's gone, I don't know if they have the confidence.
Oh, and there is a buyback on the Enigma, so he is not shut out of the game just yet here. But I'll have to see if they can make this push happen. Very low on mana on the Kunkka as well. Not like he has any of his spells just yet, but he's trying to make this happen. Okay, just blink, Hex, toss back. Maybe that's B9's death, but gotta be very careful here.
There's the lasso.
And again, Nengo.
He's gonna get caught. They can't save him. He can't even get the cheese off because he's locked down. Oh, Ravens, they may have made a bit of a mistake. Let's see if they can right the ship. They're gonna get the tidal wave out. That does catch out too. Kara's gonna channel out the freezing field. That does allow them to connect onto Yarn, but they need more damage. And look, here's Stonebank. He's a very angry bear, and he's gonna start hacking away at Benja. Self-stone form, though, going to keep him alive. But it just feels like Ravens have already lost a whole hell of a lot here. They're trying to back away, but there's another lasso catching out the Visage. They're going to pull him back in. They clean him up. They get most of his familiars, I believe, there too. Or, no, they don't. But they get the hero itself. That's the most important aspect. Stonebank, meanwhile, picked up a triple kill, and PT starting to get a little bit worrying if you're Ravens.
Yeah, they've thrown away quite a lot of their lead, and a dive where Italiano Gangster isn't pressured into buying back while they're throwing themselves at what is their just high ground. I don't know. It's just so weird, and it's also just the insane timing from RCY to actually find the lasso onto the Slark twice in a row now, where he just doesn't have Dark Pact going already. It's just almost bewildering. Not to mention as well, the Lincolns hasn't been put on him whenever he goes for these crazy dives. It just feels like Ravens is making this game a whole lot harder on themselves than really has any business being. But with that being said, Dogchamp just keep on finding these great team fights and more money in their favor. They're pulling back more net worth each time they get those punishes out. And unless Italiano Gangster is actually forced to use the Black Hole, this is also just a good circumstance. If he's never forced the Black Hole, well, he's always going to have it. He's never going to have to be put in that back against the wall situation where he's just not a hero. Because the rest of the team is just making it work.
And now, I don't know, I can't help but cast my mind back to that decision that we were a little bit critical of, right? They put the Aegis into the Kunkka's hands, they put the cheese on the Slark. The Slark dies twice. The Aegis then times out without really being used effectively, and what you got out of it was one tier 3 in the bottom lane and I think the other one up in the top lane, so well, if Nengo Flow was going to try and make risky plays like that, maybe he should have been the one to have the second life.
Yeah, but past is in the past. It's time to go. time to look at what we can actually do here. And I hate to say it, but fourth Roche is looking pretty ideal for both of these sides. It's so funny because this is such a Ravens game. We've always gone here. They will look for fourth, fifth. I don't think we've seen a sixth Roche yet, but it feels like with how Ravens have been playing in this tournament, despite feeling like the better team, despite having the advantage for tens of minutes, they just don't want to press it. They just want to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to everything. And we'll see if that ends up paying off. Because nighttime, again, favors them heavily just because they have the Slark, they have that extra vision, and with this high ground, a little bit dangerous for Dogchamp to get any closer, but that's where they're also maintaining control over their own high ground here, so they have to share. But a lasso, but not
that's a problem. He's
ideal.
hexed. Yeah, he didn't BKB in time. It's RCY to go down. The tidal wave is going to pull multiple heroes away, and Italiano Gangster, he's just going to get bashed, then stunned. Oh, Dogchamp, it's not good. 3 heroes dead. It's going to be a 4th as Yarn will fall. In the blink of an eye, ET. It's just all gone. All the progress that they had made over the last 5 to 10 minutes, it's gone.
Yeah, now, well, Enigma buyback's going to get forced. You don't have buyback on the Bat Rider, but he would have been forced into using, you know, his refresher to get any of his spells back up, so not ideal anyway, but yeah, they have to hope that they can build this Slark, but oh, is that your dieback on the Enchantress? Yes, it is. And now onto the buildings. Not to mention 35 Roche timer as well. So if this does go belly up, Ravens could probably just run at that as well. But yeah, this might be the game blown wide open here.
And there's the first lane taken. They're going to rotate their way mid. The Enigma just bought something, so he no longer has buyback, and that means they're really just going to concede. They're going to let 2, potentially even 3 lanes of Rax go and hope for one last fight. But ET, I mean, Ravens have so much, right? We saw that Nullifier come into play. The Hex was huge onto the Bat. There is now an Abyssal up on Dismar, so you have 2 Abyssal Blades into this engagement. And against 2 Abyssal Blades, I don't really know how Italiano Gangster gets anything done. He's going to try anyway. There is the Black Hole. No one's canceling it just yet. But Stonebank, he's not doing enough damage. He's already lost half of his HP. Italiano Gangster goes down. Stonebank falls as well, and this might just be over. There's going to be a buyback out from the Ursa immediately. But he's losing too many of his teammates. Yarn gets taken down. The rest are pushed back into the fountain. And there it is. GG will be called. Dogchamp put up a hell of a fight, ET, but at the end of the day, it's not enough.
Yeah, and some EU math there from Italiano Gangster. Doesn't have enough mana for the next Black Hole. Got off the second Midnight Pulse, so maybe trying to have a little bit too much damage, but he had to steal items for that refresher, so just isn't enough left on the tank. But yeah, Ravens 2-0. Dogchamp pretty sad with the turn of this series, especially with them, you know, nearly winning and almost making an entire comeback. But, well, Ravens, there you go. I mean, I don't think they're guaranteed top seed just yet, but they definitely just took a little bit of a leapfrog forward. The rest of the teams in that top 2nd and 3rd position. But yeah, kind of another gut-wrenching game. Ravens throw for, you know, all of 10 minutes, and then eventually things simmer back down and they say, oh yeah, we're the better team. We forgot. Yeah, let's just win now. Why not?
Yep. And of course, if there were Infamouses, Hikoris, Nounses, if there were teams like that in the field, you wouldn't really get away with a play like that. But Ravens, it's part of the beauty of the field we have for this event. All those teams are off in Singapore preparing, so it's, you know, it's not meant to be much of a flame against Dogchamp, but they're not quite the same caliber. They did try, and they were able to take advantage of some of those miscues for a little while, but not enough to actually pull it all the way back.
Nope. Couldn't punish it. Couldn't make enough happen. Arguably, we're just a little bit scared for certain points of the game, and then they were absolutely getting worked. And early on, sure, you got the lane, you got the musical lanes, you've got everybody moving around, you feel happy, and then Dodd gets a kill, and then Dodd gets a BKB, and then you throw everything away at the mid tower, and then Ravens, they're just so good at finding the little ups, the little wins here and there, and then they just turn those into huge advantages, huge amounts of territory that they're able to claim, and then just seemingly never give up for the rest of the game. Even though I think this was maybe Dogchamp's turn. Was definitely hard fought, but could have been their turn to maybe get a leg up over Ravens. But instead, Ravens end up being the one-loss team in our bracket so far.
Yeah, they are still looking pretty damn good. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna swing it on over here to the other screen so you can take a look at those standings. With this 2-0, Ravens improve their record to 10-2, and ET, as you said, that's not quite enough, I believe, to secure them that spot, but they are now back in sole possession of first place for the time being. So they reclaim that position with 2 more series, I believe, left to play. So they are sitting pretty for the time being. Meanwhile, Wolf Team and Felt, almost mixed their names, each getting 1 point. Their position really does not shift massively, but for those teams in particular, that does matter, right? Wolf Team still within striking distance. You can see them there, a couple points behind SG Esports, 3 points behind 5-Rat, whereas Felt get that all-important point to put them 2 series ahead of 5-Man Midas. So they are appreciating that. And also, I'm just now realizing I was saying Felt and Wolf Team. It was Felt and no runes. So technically, everything I said was still true, except for the matchup. Wolf Team played 5-Rat Force Staff, but they still did get the 1 point out of it. So you can see everyone moving up just that little bit. So pardon me for the mistake, but there's your group stage standings in ET. Well, it's kind of funny, right? We're talking about all these teams at the top, Raven getting up there, but really I think the single most important thing that I saw today was Felt getting that 3rd point, because with the way 5-Man Midas have been playing, they might not be safe to playoffs.
Yeah, and we'll have to see, because again, on the second, that's going to be the game. That's going to be the 5-Man Midas. Do you lose despite it all, or will you have just something else to play for here? And that's also where 5-Man Midas have 3 matches in the next 3 days. But that's also where, on the other side, you got to watch out for no runes, because they have a super back-loaded schedule here. They've got, again, 3 more series to look up to. And that's where they could honestly surge ahead of a lot of these other teams. It's where Wolf Team eating that loss just doesn't feel very good for them, and it's where New Runes can absolutely just move above them. And then suddenly you're like, oh, well, shucks, they're top 4 now, and we're very upset with how our first half of our games went if we're Wolf Team. But again, that's where we'll have to see in the next 3 days.
And we will get some immediate answers to at least the no runes question, because they are scheduled for 2 series tomorrow afternoon, if I am reading the schedule right. They're going to play both SG Esports and this Dog Champ lineup. So yeah, that's going to be their best opportunities for points, because their 3rd series, their final series, is against Ravens. So at this point, I don't think we can really bank on anybody taking points off of Ravens and feeling comfortable about that, ET. But yeah, by the end of tomorrow, No Rune's position in these standings could have shifted quite significantly. So that is going to be on the docket. But for today, we are done. That is 3 more best of 2s in the books here. So we are coming down really to the home stretch. And ET, at this point, we really have not locked anyone into anything as of yet.
Yeah, fingers crossed, especially if you're 5-Man Midas. That, I think we're like talking about you a little bit here, but yeah, we'll have to see, because you don't want to be that one team that goes home, but nothing's spoken for yet.
So hope you tune in tomorrow afternoon. It is going to be SG No Runes, Dog Champ No Runes, and then Felt versus Ravens. That will be the final matchup. So we'll see if some stuff shifts or if it all just remains kind of boring and stable, but those matches are for tomorrow afternoon. Same start time, 1 p.m. Pacific time, so we will be here to kick off another day of action. But for now, we are going to be saying goodbye. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Dota. Hope you join us tomorrow afternoon as well. But for now, thank you and enjoy the rest of your night.
Paradise. Even the Bloodseeker, I think now that the Mirana's picked up, just having that secondary ability to see heroes that are thirsted is going to be pretty nice. But Undying is picked up, and that's pretty annoying. That, again, puts more pressure on the jump, makes it so that way that Axe not only has to deal with now Soul Repealing coming in from the Undying, but also if you blink Initiate, you are stuck. Nobody is hitting Tomb really right now, aside from maybe the Enchantress once you see a Hurricane Pike, but this is going to be a Tombstone that is going to keep you locked in I can only imagine now for Paradise, you're going to want somebody that's maybe able to get in and out of fights a little bit easier, but Undying slipping all the way through. Of course, not the most popular hero we've seen in the first phase in at least the past day, but at the same time, the team fight's getting more and more difficult for Felt to win.
Yeah, now maybe they look a little bit more closely at that Juggernaut, right? Maybe spin yourself onto the tombstone, just try and get it out of the way quickly, but, well, I don't know. They could, still try for something a little bit crazy, and I am also sort of worried here if you pick something like a Jug or a Troll. Mini's on the other side, and Morphling is not banned, so maybe you just hold off. Maybe you take a mid laner here instead of your carry. Yeah, okay. Looks like that is going to be the play. It is going to be the Solji Lina, and we just saw Kits put together an impressive but maybe not entirely successful performance, but it still showed the threat that the Lina poses.
Yeah, and Lina versus Invoker. Of course, you're just farming. He's just farming. Doesn't end up being too much pressure that can actually be put onto. And yeah, they banned the Bloodseeker. Makes sense. I feel like they would have wanted that hero a lot, but don't have to worry about it. We'll see if that hero becomes more valuable as Primal Beast gets picked up more, because at least in my head, the way I see it, Primal Beast kind of fulfills the same function as Night Stalker, where if you just rupture him, he just sits there and then looks at you, and then you lock him out of a fight for so long. But maybe that's where there is a little bit more magic damage involved with Primal Beast, so teams don't look at him as that same hero just yet. But Lina, Tombstone hitter, draws your mid lane. Solji's probably best mid hero we've seen in the tournament so far. He's definitely been struggling on a lot of those melee mid laners. Glad they didn't force him into what could have been a pretty bad matchup here. And I think the reason they go for the Lina on this spot is just to disallow No Runes from banning it out, because well, Lina was next in line. We were inching closer and closer to those being the heroes, probably Lina or Puck, and then suddenly we're out of gas here for Solji. But good, they got it. Now we have to look at Paradise's hero, though. And they banned PL. Interesting, because versus Primal Beast, you'd say, okay, you can doppel away, but you probably die after the doppel. But I think valuing the idea that if this game does start to go later, second time as well, we've seen the PL ban against the Invoker first phase, just because Invoker can't do a whole lot. Your most important spells just kind of get shoved away. So understandable, I can get it, but that's also where Mini gets the next pick up on you here. And all he has to do is lane versus an Axe. And I think that's where the Slark ban is pretty valuable here. Of course, Call does beat the taunt, but I don't know. I feel like you're not going to be unhappy no matter what ends up happening. And if you are going to look for an incredibly early blink timing on that Axe, eventually you have to creep cut. And I do like the Drow ban. I feel like that silence could be quite troublesome, as well as just any knockback with Undying, of course, is going to be problematic. But I am kind of grinding my gears. What's Mini going to want to play versus Axe? What's going to be the immediate counter pick? Because Felt have done a good job in that second phase of bans. They really did cover, I think, the worst things that Mini could have gone for. I just hope Mini doesn't pick something terrible like, I don't know, let's say the Wraith King again. That hero just hasn't really felt too great. Bristle's pretty sick.
Whoa.
And they pick Clinks. Okay.
That's not what I was expecting. Clinks kind of just fell out of my brain, ET, in terms of a viable option, but we'll see if it actually is a viable option. Just because they picked it doesn't mean it's going to do well, but a hero making a bit of a re-debut at this point, because he really just did not factor into the meta much.
Yeah, and of course, again, with the, not the letter patch, but the previous patch, all the numbers got better. His Q got insanely good. You farm so quickly, and Weaver ends up being the choice. I was thinking maybe even Weaver for no runes, even though, of course, versus Axe, it might be a little bit scary, but versus the rest of the lineup, it would certainly make the Lina sad. But Paradise gets the Weaver, and not the worst situation. Of course, a carry that will naturally be able to run away and hide whenever the Primal Beast comes for him. But yeah, this Clinks has a lot to kind of put up here. And of course, you are Clinks versus Axe, and Axe has a little bit more armor now, so maybe that lane isn't actually as bad for Fade as it has been in maybe metas prior. But that's also where a lot of, especially European players, have been picking the Clinks more and more. It keeps on getting buffed. It keeps on looking sicker. I don't know. We'll have to see, because you have a stack taker now. The rest of the lineup, I can only imagine what those Ancients are going to look like. And if Mini can actually farm them, this Clinks is going to get off to a great start. But again, we'll have to see. And Felt, I think, again, have a very solid draft. Again, I wish the Warden was maybe on a slightly more active hero because he really is just going to be attached to Fade at the hip for the rest of the game. But again, we'll see if he can maybe make some plays here and there because we've seen what Skywrath mages can do with just a little bit of farm, a little bit of a level advantage. But no, I believe in really both teams here. I think this is maybe I'd say 60-40 draft right now, which is exactly where you want to be.
Well, see how it all plays out. Loading in to the first game here. Both teams, well, really starting to feel the need to get some more points on the board. But as you say, this draft relatively close, which I think for Felt is already a step in the right direction, right? Because we had some games earlier on where they were just getting really kind of outthought in the drafting phase, and at that point you already put your team in a weak position in terms of execution. So we shall see what they do here. We do start with a bit of a pause out from the no runes side, so not ready to get underway just yet.
Yeah, and unfortunate. See if maybe their ping or whatever's happening will die down, but I do wonder how the Weaver will actually do versus the Primal Beast, because a part of me is like, oh, go just Shikuchi away, it's gonna be fine, Paradise is gonna be a-okay, and then another part of me says, well, Shikuchi has a 15 and a 12-second cooldown. It's just those early levels of Primal Beast that just still feel pretty insane. But that's also where we're looking at Heiko. He's going for a slightly different build-up. We've seen the Bracer come out quite a few times, but also seen Primal Beast go for Quelling Blade and just simply the Wind Blaze to just barely have a little bit more movement speed to make sure you can actually get on top of heroes, especially the 5 positions. But with this, it looks like he's just going to look to right-click. You can only imagine as well with these starting items, probably just going to get the upper level one, which is the build that did get nerfed in the previous patch, in the letter patch, but we'll have to see if that plays into it at all, or if things are going to be a-okay. I think as soon as this game does get unpaused, though, should probably see an immediate smoke up from no runes, just because Hanes needs to get wards down in that medium and small camp, just making sure that you're not going to get any of those creeps getting over to you for the Enchantress. I almost feel like they might even want to switch up their lanes, but part of me also thinks that they can't really do that, even though Mirana versus Enchantress is definitely kind of Mirana favored, because even though you let that large camp spawn, of course, anytime he takes over the creep, it's just arrowed. You're just gone.
Not exactly a easy situation in terms of keeping that creep alive, but well, all of that to be determined at this point as the pause does continue. I'm not really sure if this is a connection issue. There was a little bit of a mention in the lobby that there might be a little bit of a personal issue for one of the players that they are seeing to at the moment, so might be the cause of the pause. Part of the reason perhaps as well that we're not getting any word from the admin or from Felt, because I believe they were already informed that this may be the case. Of course, it does still count against the pause time here for no runes, so that is going to be ticking away against them, but looks like this was not exactly an unexpected scenario for either side.
No, definitely not, and of course, slightly unfortunate for us and the viewers, but I'm sure Felt are not too bothered. They just get to sit, maybe talk a little bit, probably open up YouTube, a tab, see what's going on. Be pretty casual here, but I do wonder what this Clinks is going to work out with. And Clinks, again, very interesting carry. Still, I cannot believe that they made Burning Barrage really as good as they made it, just turning the number of arrows always to 6. Of course, nerfing the damage slightly, because even though they made the arrows constant, they didn't make the damage constant, so you do have to have that scaling up, but just purely having the other instance of damage, of course, makes items like the Javelin build, especially the Javelin Rush, even more effective. Knowing Mini, you'll probably get a Falcon Blade beforehand, but this hero does just farm so quickly now. And on Dire, of course, you can maybe connect a few more of those camps whenever you do want to get those greedy multi burning barrages going down for you. But versus Lena, I don't know, because in a head-to-head matchup, I do believe that Lena will just kind of straight up kill you. But that's where I think Solji has been in this position so many times in the tournament already. So hopefully he'll be able to keep his head down and keep his head screwed on. But there you go. Admin intervention.
Yeah.
starting already.
Yeah, as you said, there was a potential situation there, but they are checking in on it. Looks like they're waiting for Mr. Jeans, aka Guts, to get himself back in here, and according to Minnie, he should be back soon. And that is going to be an interesting thing to point out, Et. You mentioned the ability for this Clinks to farm, the stacks. Um, he might have to cross the map to do it, but you've got the Marana on the other side, that ranged sort of support, so that stacking ability is going to be a little bit higher. Of course, the Marana then has to not steal too much of the stack with the occasional sort of arrow plays, but they are going to have that to fall back on. Of course, on the other side of things, they'll have an axe to work with, right? So they could very well be looking for the exact same stacks on their side of the map too.
Mm-hmm. Nope, for sure. And whether or not stealing ends up being a component of the game, we'll have to see. But also have to see what Fade ends up going for. The last tax we saw, I believe it was King RD's, ended up getting like phase boots and an urn, and then ended up getting a few more points in battle hunger than axes we've seen. But eventually, you just want a creep cut, plain and simple. It's how you get the most farm. But there is an Undying that's going to be chasing you down everywhere. So I wonder if that's going to be more pressure that Fade has to inevitably deal with. But aside from that, I wonder if maybe that's where Surem is going to feel the drawbacks of that decay change that we keep on trying to talk about, but it ends up just not mattering because Mangoes is just on the table. Everybody just keeps
Yeah.
buying them because Mangoes are just wildly efficient. They're just pretty good. It's almost like we should have been buying these for a while. Everybody had this messed up idea where clarities are better, they're more efficient, they're cheaper too. I'm just gonna clarity up. Now we're past that.
It's just mangoes are superior. That's just it. That's the whole thing. Just everybody buy mangoes, and all of a sudden your mana concerns don't really
My keyboard is not
matter.
working
Well,
properly.
I guess that's not true. They do still technically matter. It's just 9 times out of 10 you can just power through them and ignore them. So we'll see just how much of an impact the Undying has. I do want to point out here, Force RM might just be because the game's still paused and we haven't really done anything else yet. But if you look, there we go. Look at the quick buy for him. He's just looking at the blade mail straight up, which obviously that can't possibly be the actual plan to just go for that before boots or before anything else. But he is looking to be that kind of Undying, right? I'm gonna pop Flesh Golem, I'm gonna pop Blade Mail, and I'm just gonna stand in the middle of a fight and just be as obnoxious as humanly possible. This
Well, and
game,
honestly, versus Lena, it's not even that bad of a choice. I do think it's a meme queue up, right? Clearly, he's gonna buy items before the blade
yeah.
mail, but no, at the same time, if all you have going for you is an HP surplus, well, that's something you can certainly play against when Lena just wants to hit you or your tombstone. So why the heck not? Blade mail, GG. Even though there are some other pretty important items in this game, probably Glimmer Cape, Holy Locket, Force Staff, the good support items, but. Now we'll see. And they actually placed 2 wards on the opposing team's high ground. Okay, and now Surem, seeing all this vision, he's going to poke it. He's going to put the sentry down. And there is a huge wrap coming through, which is why Felt are in no position to really protect this ward if they do go for that sentry. But all of the pings coming out, and they're actually going to put the sentry on the high ground thinking that something's up here. And they will guess wrong, but
That was a very strange series of events, right? They push up, they fake it out, they fall back, they get the sentry, and then we have Guts DCing, so that one just felt so unbelievably strange. And you saw Fade, I mean, he got within like arm's length distance of Heiko, and they just didn't actually force anything, which I can understand sitting on the ramp and hoping someone comes up to them, but I'm not 100% sure what Fade was looking for going that far forward.
yeah, I don't know. And he does just get to walk away. He didn't even get right clicked. He didn't get hit by anything, but I think maybe that was them just being scared of the concussive shot level 1, because of course, as we've talked about before, 4-second, 40% slow is pretty fearsome. It's a pretty sick spell, but now we've got this huge engage that might end up happening on this bottom water rune, but at the same time, yeah, the Clinks has to give up. He starts walking towards top. He doesn't want to necessarily eat all that harassment as they do see the Scarth Mage and the Axe leaving, but
Paradise is wrapped around from behind.
And
Is
everybody
there a
walks
plan
away.
here? This is... Okay. I guess there wasn't a plan. That just looked very strange.
Badly. Died worse.
Now it is kind of interesting to see. Look, both Hane and Sarem are kind of following Heiko into this lane, so I gotta wonder, is this a full, real tri-lane commitment, or is somebody gonna look to just sort of break off and TP? Because I don't know if the Clinks can handle that lane by himself. No, he can't. Sarem's gonna TP up there.
Yeah, and of course, it's Undying versus Axe. This is just what you're gonna do, and I do think that this lane again got a little bit easier just because Axe, got a little bit more regen to play with. He has the armor. He's got a ring of protection as well to maybe make his life not so hard. But at the same time, this Undying is going to be problematic for both the Warden and Fade. He's just going to stay on top of you. He's going to help deny creeps. But you do have quite a lot of great level 1 slows, and maybe that's going to be the name of the game. Just kite Sarem as much as you can until you have enough levels on Fade to get those creep cuts going, because until then, it can be a little bit difficult. But nice courier snipe. Nice.
Get a little bit of a snipe out there, some extra money. Meanwhile, the Warden just continuing to do Skywrath things, being obnoxious in the early stages of the game. Meanwhile, down bot, Heiko trying to be a bully, getting a little bit of damage in here onto the Enchantress. Of course, Paradise, he's always going to have that Shikuchi play to try and counter it out, and until Heiko actually has the trample, he is going to get away with that. Once he has trample, we'll see, right, how the cooldowns sort of match up, but it's free for the time being.
Yeah, and of course, 6 base damage instead of 10, it's definitely nerfed. But part of me almost wishes that Heiko went for the build where you just don't have anything. And, well, there you go. Gets level 2, gets immediately enchanted, though, and they walk away. And Heiko ends up eating so much damage. The half pull did come through, and he does have a salve, but yeah, not exactly what he wanted with his play there. But again, my point being, I almost wish he had the onslaught and the trample skilled up instead. He might have a little bit more kill potential then, just with how strong trample is as a base spell, but instead, it was a little bit awkward. Half pull did work, though. Half the wave did just kind of die for free here as Hannes goes a little bit crazy and, yeah, gets another leap forced out of him, and the trades are just been so efficient. Delta are just winning these so handily.
Okay. Be careful. The impetus might just kill him. Okay, he had a fairy fire. He's going to be okay for now, but he's playing a very dangerous game in the early stages. Speaking of which, over the top lane, Sarem actually had to throw a tombstone down here. He was pretty low himself, trying to just sort of keep Fade and the Warden at bay, and now... Okay, never mind. They were going to try to get aggressive, although with Fade not having a point in the Berserker's Call, he really can't kill unless something goes horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah, it would have to be a pretty sick connect, and of course, you're actually pretty low in the Lena, and okay, doesn't decide to go too ham for it, and actually misses that that mid ward barely, but it's actually top lane where the first blood goes, just level 3, just a little bit too much damage, and perhaps still a little too much slow for you to deal with. I think the Warden has destined himself for death, probably gets the bounty in before dying, but yeah, that's the dive from before, and it works.
There we go. Okay, Hane has to clean it up, but they are going to get it, and that's still not quite an easy play. Cold Snap into Arrow is still far from guaranteed, but they get it that time, and they're able to find the kill. The Warden, meanwhile, just dying to the tower, I believe. Yeah. Got himself behind the tier 2, so just a reset for him. Death timer is, ever so slightly extended, but still. He's going to be able to come back into that lane, get some more items for himself and his axe, and look a little bit stronger because of it. As Heiko... There's really not a whole lot to do here. This is just kind of painful. Every time he tries to do much of anything, the Enchantress is just there to slow him down, but he is still tracking, and well, the Enchantress didn't really leave when she had the chance. The trample might just take her down.
Yep, there you go. That's your boots windlace advantage, and if you can't kill the Weaver, well, kill her friend. Sure, go for it. Even though, okay, Heiko is actually gonna maybe just get straight up killed here. Onslaught away, and has to kill the bug, and we'll kill it just in time, 50 HP, but that hurt.
Weird one at that point, but at least he doesn't get taken down. That's still going to be okay, but are seeing both sides looking for those early skirmishes as, well, Fade, I think he's going to be okay here, but here comes the creep skipping, right? Just trying to get in between the waves and between the towers and just be obnoxious. And Sarem, I don't really know if this is something that you can consistently contest. If he tries to get in close, and he's going to get hit by those counter helixes pretty badly.
Yeah, and you don't really want to creep cut too hard just yet, just because if you do get low, it's very easy to just have that rotation over, but they're actually just diving mini instead, and this is incredibly smart. You need the creep wave to deal damage with Axe, and, well, Mini, he's taking so much, and there you go. Just gets taken down.
Okay.
What a quiet play. Just walks in the nighttime, and there's no rebuttal. You're just sitting here eating it, and even though you're not actively right-clicking Sarem, getting that aggro with the cart and the flag bearer, this is so much damage.
Just, yeah, as you say, just a quiet play. They just walk it in, and nobody really came to help. Nobody could really afford to come to help his Guts. Gotta be a little bit careful there. He was pulled back, but look at Hane getting in for the arrow that sets up for the EMP kill. Is Guts going to be able to escape here? Yes, he is. The Wild Wing Ripper can't do enough damage, and now Solji, he just got to back away behind. It's not going to let him go. Right clicks are in. And the Mirana saves the day, turns that from a gank onto the Invoker into 2 kills for no runes.
No, threaded the needle there. Almost looked like the creep was actually going to clip onto that arrow, but just barely gets it through. And again, another very good tornado that really ends up keeping Guts alive for just a little bit too long, which is why the rotation comes. But big wins for no runes, and wins that they are kind of looking for, because this top lane is becoming a bully party. The Mirana rotating in as well. You would have loved to get aggressive onto Fade before the Vanguard, and, well, they're trying. There's the arrow setup.
Yep. Perfectly put together. The execution's on point from no runes. It is a bit unfortunate that the Tombstone has to go down there, just because that is kind of a cooldown, and I think with the Tornado Arrow combo, you might have just been able to do it. But better safe than sorry if you're Sarem. They secure the kill. And now they're starting to get a little bit active here, right? Starting to move some of these heroes around. That's something that felt not going to be overly comfortable with. They are trying to get some damage on the tier 1, considering Guts did move out of lane, but now here's where the problems start. Another arrow comes through. It does connect. Starstorm is in too. But the Tornado is not. Solji's sidestepping it for now, but with Sarem coming over, that is still going to be a kill. Solji will die. Can Hane get away? Uphill miss does not work out in his favor. But that's going to be core for support. They're okay with that. Although Sarem goes down too, then it gets a little bit more iffy, but it looks like he should be able to step his way out of this. Is there an impetus though? Yeah. Thought he was out of range, but yeah. Double kill for your Enchantress. It's just a bummer that the Lina goes down at the start of that, because he's 0-3 now.
You know, he's been the victim of these support rotations. It hasn't really been too fun for him, and does just have to go into the jungle eventually. We'll just retreat, but just TP'd in, and again, well, here's the arrow. It needs the silence, but it doesn't land in time, and Soldier's gonna go down again. They were able to get the Primal Beast bottom, which was just a straight-up solo kill from Paradise, which is quite nice for the Weaver, but yeah, your Lina's game is done, even though the supports, again, might barely find a trade here, because Sarem is super slow, but everybody's happy except for Solji.
And the Enchantress gets yet another kill. Killing spree now for him. But what's going on here? Fade's been caught. Look at the distance they're putting between him, too. Everyone is just far enough away to not get hit by the taunt. Of course, that does mean that they weren't close enough to keep Fade in their sights, so the Axe may actually make it out. Barrage isn't enough damage, and the Urn's not going to take him out here either. He's just going to walk away from this.
You know, big whiffs from both Hanes and Guts. I don't know, they just didn't cast their abilities. They missed, I think, a few too many spells there where they were so certain that it was a guaranteed kill that they thought that by missing, maybe they just forced him to walk into the wrong direction. But Fade as well, just having a nice path, just knowing that he had to kind of juke and jive there, and he does get away with it.
Of course, he now needs to go all the way back to base to heal, but it beats dying in those circumstances, as, speaking of potentially dying, Paradise getting hit up by Heiko a little bit down in that bottom lane, but hit 6 a while back. He's got the time lapse to keep him safe, and he's just going to try to continue farming, because his farm has gone incredibly well here. Top net worth by a bit of a hefty margin at this point as well. He's like 250 ahead of the next closest, so you're feeling pretty good on the Weavers so far. It's just the other cores, some doubts in the early stages, especially considering we got a bit of a group up here mid, but Guts is the one in some trouble. He is silenced up. Hane gets a nice arrow in, but it's not onto Solji, so he still gets a stun into the Laguna, but it's not enough damage. Guts will live, And now look at these supports surge forward. They know once Solji throws that Laguna Blade, he's really not that much of a threat. Paradise, however, is very much a threat. And as he arrives, it's time to leave, but Sarem's not going to make it out. LSA clips him. Both the supports go down, and they did not think that there was going to be the extra 2 heroes in there on the No Rune side. By the time they realize it, it's too late to pull out.
Yeah, and finally, Solji gets something for the rotations here. And actually, okay, silence onto the Invoker. Did swipe away that DD rune, but LSA
Gotta hit the
connects. It
stun.
could be scary, but no. Too fast with the Wex, so he's able to run that one out. But also, do want to see, I think, a little bit more activity coming in from the Weaver. It's one of those carries that actually likes to get involved early. You can just make those rotations happen, and well, it's finally stack time, as you see all those neutral items getting picked up by the Axe because he just took a 4-stack of that large camp. Now looking at the Ancients, and well, this is just free and no runes. They don't know about it. They haven't scouted it. They haven't been playing on this side of the map because they've been so focused on mid. And even though the Warden probably goes down here, and yeah, we'll get killed by that, they don't cut in too deep. So Fade will be able to finish off the entire stack before anybody even bats an eye, even though they are just on the outskirts there, but doesn't happen. And they take mid. They walk a little bit too far away from that tower as well, so they'll get a little chunk of net worth in their favor.
3k net worth lead at 11 minutes. One of the better starts that we've seen from them to this point in Pro Series, so obviously we're 11 minutes in, so they've still got a long way to go, but they have recovered in just about every position other than mid, right? Those stacks got Fade up to the top of the net worth. Obviously, the Weaver's been farming up fantastically, as we just said. The only person that they need to now bump up a little bit is Solji, but, well, maybe now's the time to start the fights. As you say, Paradise wants to be involved. If you get the Lina in there, she's got the Laguna, so find yourself some picks, and all of a sudden, he could be just kind of skyrocketing up that net worth.
Well, that's where I think you can start to look for maybe some recovery, but I think until he has Boots of Travel, he is still going to be pretty limited by his mana pool. But it's where top tower got another tower. Fade is still looking for his Blink Dagger. Then
That's a
we're seeing
problem.
some smoke rotations, but yeah. Well,
Tornado caught him first, then the arrow, then the EMP. So first he couldn't pop the time-lapse because he was stunned, then he couldn't because he had no mana. So excellent play from No Runes, and they also were just walking around with dust. The second that they sort of saw him there, they were able to hit him up, and now they can turn this into a push onto the tower. This tier 1 is not looking too healthy, but at the same time, look at this over on the other side. They would love to go onto Mini. They're going to hit him up with the... oh, with the slow and the silence and the dust for that matter, but they don't actually get close enough to force a fight, and now the Enchantress could get punished, and let's see. They should be able to finish this kill off. The Enchantress is going to try and make a break for it. The arrow doesn't connect, but I mean, there we go. Somebody's got to get it at a certain point, and it is going into the hands of Hane. Good play from No Runes to find that kill. At the same time, Heiko able to walk away from the gank down bot.
yeah, the max range onslaught just goes through everything, and it's almost a sick play from Paradise, just trying to get ahead of that, knowing that that was the only way that Primal Beast survives, but it still ends up being just too far away from them. But yeah, No Runes claw back a little bit of the net worth with that previous kill top, and we'll see how that Clinks manages to farm up now. Not the same level of stacks as we saw them take on the Felt side, but
Fade's
now,
got Blink.
yeah, Blink Dagger, Mystic Flare, they want any kill, and oh, they're gonna go for Sarem instead of anything bigger, but do they want to stick around now? Arrow's gonna land, and this is gonna get really scary. No Mystic Flare now.
The Warden's out of the fight. Heiko, though, just used the trample, so he may need to clear out. He is going to do exactly that as it turns into a bit of a reset. Reset. Support for support at the moment. No Runes. They're looking for the wraparound because there's still heroes on this high ground. Oh, uh-oh. Wait, they got eyes on Paradise instead. He has no time-lapse. He already used it. Can they actually spot him, though? And more importantly, now can they spot him before reinforcements arrive? Because Guts has to just sort of come in to break this up. They will get the Pulverize down onto Fade. And the Axe is going to get taken down. Paradise dropping low. He is going to be able to escape, though, but that means Solji is stuck in the middle of the fight. His Laguna finished off the Primal Beast, so at least they get that kill. Now they're on the run. Is there another arrow? There was, but Hane didn't want to deploy it. It would have been a very long shot onto a moving target, but No Runes, after the 1-for-1 trade on the supports, able to just sort of double back and get a much better trade this time around.
Yeah, for sure. They are finally able to just punish the positioning there and really good jump in.
Oh.
Okay.
That is huge from Hane. He doesn't have anything to set that up. He just free fires an arrow, catches out the Weaver, who did not necessarily learn his lesson, right? He got away from the first fight, but instead of going all the way back and healing, tries to get a little bit greedy, and that is killer for Felt. And now that net worth lead ET that they had so painstakingly built up, it's gone.
Yeah, now it's just time to rely on the vision you placed during the daytime, maybe get some new wards down, and then just hope that, again, Fade can connect with that Skyreth Mage and then just keep the plays going. Both of them need each other. They need to continuously make these plays. Otherwise, the lineup starts to grind to a halt. And even though you have 120 last that's on Fade, doesn't really matter. Being second net worth only works out for you if you can actually have the damage to start this snowball. But without it, you're kind of in gridlock now. And space that you need to create for Lina. Your Solji needs time. You need to get this BKB. You need to find a lane for him to play in, because right now, he's just too afraid to walk up to really anything without the rest of the lineup showing. And right now, they are showing. They are just standing underneath the No Runes Ward. They have the sentry placed, but I don't know. They're putting your axe so far out right now, and he's just going to get turned on. Nice blink, though. Okay.
Blinks out before that projectile from Mini connects, but they're also going to lose some heroes here. The Warden is going to get spotted and finished off. Solji now in some trouble. Cold Snap locks him down. Pulverize is going to finish the job, and if you're Felt, you can't afford this. You have to be the squad pushing the tempo. You have to be the ones choosing where and when the fight happens. And Fade, it's a very sick play to get himself away from the gank and sacrifice his teammate instead, but if you're putting all your effort into avoiding getting caught, then you're not finding any kills.
No, and yet again, they just have simply better vision on No Runes. They have both the high ground wards. They're in a really nice spot, and they are looking at top right now, and especially the Weaver, and that's Blink. So there you
Arrow's
go,
gonna
Arrow.
come in.
Oh, it's so good. And now, well, you are just so dead. You've got the Onslaught as well. It's a little bit short, but we'll eventually be able to get the Enchantress. Just... Oh, man. This nighttime has not been panning off, and I don't know, do you need a soul smoke? Do you need to just get the worded and Fade on a pick? But that's where No Runes are also not making that mistake of splitting off too hard. They are just, as a unit, they know that the punish would come if they do split. And sure, as I say that, Mini does kind of appear in the bottom lane, and this would be your mistake, but if he retreats too quickly, this is where they would love that smoke to go into the triangle, but simply do not have it on either of those heroes, and with it, another play will die.
Just missing opportunities, and Fade, I know it's tough, right? That last play kind of breaks apart, but been looking over him the last couple of minutes, he's seeming a little too comfortable just falling back to the farm at this point, right? He goes into the jungle, he takes a camp, says, okay, we'll try again later. There's only so many times you can do that before your window has passed, so he needs to be the engine. He needs to be the guy both in the game and in Felt's team comm saying, listen, we gotta go, we gotta make a play, because this situation is not going to last forever. That Clinks is going to out-farm us. The Invoker has the Hand of Midas picked up now as well, so the pace of play is going to speed up whether you want it to or not. You might as well try to be the squad actually leading that charge.
Yeah, and one of the problems, of course, is that as soon as he shows, No Runes can just make any team fight happen. The reason he's not farming any of these lanes is because if he does, then No Runes aren't scared in the slightest, and, well, they decide to smoke, and the smokes are actually going to just hard whiff on each other, which is kind of funny, but I guess Felt are trying to look and see if there's going to be a Clinks farming up here, or more likely even just a Heiko, but the theoretical Heiko does not exist up there. No Runes are just simply bottom, and now, because you stuck yourselves out so far, well, they're already all bottom. They're on the waves. As soon as the Invoker shows mid, that's their next target to hit onto, but this is a little bit of a reach, and with the positioning, I would love the Invoker, but he's going to retreat towards his team, and as soon as he's connected to that Undying, the kill's going to become a little bit too impossible. And now they're getting aggressive because they see him underneath the wards. They don't get any D-wards with that smoke, and there goes the Warden.
Just can't make a play at this point. If you're Feld, it's so unbelievably unfortunate for them. As okay, Heiko. That's a little bit aggressive there, bud, but he is going to back it off, or maybe he's not. Look at his teammates trying to wrap around from the south. Guts and Hane don't quite have the angle, so they're going to give up on that play, but now they're on their opponent's side of the map. They're going to take some of these camps. They're going to try and push their way mid onto the Weaver again. Did they get the combo again? Of course they did. This Weaver just does not get the chance to pop his ult.
Nope. Just a little bit too quick, and now you're onto the mid tower, and this is all with really 3 or 4 members of No Runes walking underneath this mid ward, and okay, Sarem is losing to a Pine Cone, but Arrow's going to go through, have enough damage, and that's why you've got the Primal Beast. Doesn't need to right-click it all. Trample instead, and it just seems to work. So with some nice time for the Lina to push in and farm bottom relatively safely, but you're just farming more, and again,
Oh
the
my
axe
god,
got found.
he's in. He's silenced up though, so we can't do anything immediately, but teammates are coming up behind. There's the Starstorm, there's the Cold Snap. They're going to be able to find another one, and at this point, while all that went down, Sarem actually did finish off the tier 1 tower. It is a trade-off across the map, but the tier 1 that Solji found isn't really going to matter too much, especially with Mini finding one last kill there onto the Warden.
No, it has to be a big smoke. Once this BKB is finished up on the Lina, and of course is basically finished, only 100 gold away, you need to connect with the axe. That is still exactly what you need to do. There's no other play. That is what you drafted for. You have no team fight from your carry. You have no team fight from your mid laner. You are just banking on Fade, finding anything at this point. And they do have a little bit of time here. They do get the D ward out, so now if No Runes want to play towards this top or even bottom area, they will be effectively blind, but it's also daytime, so they can't afford to be a little bit more blind. As in the river, Sarem taking a lot of damage,
This
but
is a bait.
there it is again.
Gonna get that pulverized down. There's the arrow into the EMP. Paradise still doesn't get to ult. Oh man. He's just not having a fun time on the Weaver. 2 and 5 now. Did not get the kill onto Sarem either. The Undying walks away. Now Hane calls his own number. He's got a Yules. He can set up for that arrow play every time he wants it.
Beyond godlike Mirana.
Yeah. 13 and 2. And now if you're Hane, well, like I said, you've got the Yule, so you can set up for your own arrow play. Now he's thinking, maybe I should start doing some damage. He's got the Aghanim Scepter queued up, so you have basically double Starstorm to work with now. Well, once he's got it.
Yeah, it's like not the best ag still in Dota, but I think a bigger part of it is just that whenever you throw out the arrow, it is the blink canceller. It is the, even if you throw it into nothing, just the idea that it clips onto the axe is pretty valuable. Other than that, he could also just turn his, he turned his draft, going for an Ethblade as well. Makes sense. Would pretty much ruin either the Weaver or the Lina at doing any damage in a team fight. I think Wraith Pact also would have been a pretty good option for him. Same vein, just really good at disabling blinks and stopping any of that gap close from coming through. But we also have a pretty big problem with another item on the horizon here. Mini almost has a Scotty, and that is going to be almost impossible for Solji to play in between. It's where, again, they need to just find the initiation, they need to get their spells, and then they need to run away, but it's not happening. And of course, with that, it's really just slowing the game down. It means that the supports on Felt aren't getting anything. In bottom, they would love Hane. This would be a huge kill. This would be a godlike streak in the hands of either your Axe or your Skywrath Mage, but the mistake's not being made right now. We'll have to see. It's why the tension is there. It's, again, why the Axe can't show, but as soon as they go for a smoke with the rest of the lineup, well, then everything's going to get blown up in their face if they can find their way onto the Lina. But until then, we're just playing the waiting game here.
This is just so much time being spent, though, and Hane, soon he might just realize that there's more heroes coming, and then he's not going to fall into this trap under any circumstances. Yeah. He sees the heroes, and it's time to either wait for reinforcements or just maybe TP out directly, as he is going to pop the Moonlight. Solji. He doesn't have Dust, but Fade does, so Hane's got to try to get away. There's going to be the first leap into the second. That's not how you do that, Hane.
It's okay. Yeah, of course, accidentally turned around. He was out. He was gone. But during this time as well, you do get Roche, because they make the call that they're smoked into the triangle. And Minya, okay, make sure to pick up the Aegis. But with that, now your Clinks is still just absolutely massive. But hey, the Warden's got probably an item finished off after that kill, after the Godlike Spree goes into his hands. Sad it didn't end up going into the Lena's hands, but you know, what can you do? Nothing to be too worried about. But that's where they are still not out of the woods just yet here, because of course Roshan has been taken. Mini can now just run at one of your cores 100-0, trade his life away for yours, and you cannot really escape unless you're the Weaver, because Paradise is still very hard to get onto as long as he doesn't get arrowed.
Yeah.
But also has a BKB finished up. So Feld have come into a little bit of a timing here where at least the cores are going to be able to safely farm for a little bit. Fade's still working on his own BKB, but this could be a timing where they just farm. Unfortunately, it is a double BKB timing, so you'd want to make a new play happen. You'd want to probably find a smoke, but into nighttime, into an Aegis, I feel like instead we're probably just going to farm, which will benefit no runes, because of course they don't have BKBs. They are itemizing for these much bigger, much more expensive choices, which are not built up just yet, but once you get them, you look at BKB after the fact, and your BKBs are just going to simply be longer than your opponents.
I'm still just kind of really sitting here and not being super happy with the fact that Fate still hasn't been able to make too many plays. I mean, that Mirana kill kind of falls into their lap because pathing turns the Mirana around, but his blink came at a pretty solid time. His Vanguard was there in like the first handful of minutes, but the progression has just slowed down because he is not really someone who's going to farm all that quickly, especially since he's rapidly losing space to the Weaver and the Lena. So I don't know, just want to see him try to get active. Now's not a great time fighting into the Aegis, but none of the previous times have been good times for him either.
No, definitely has not. And well, let's take a peek. What you got? Is this going to be a tier 2? Well, see a Hill Troll. It's just a little bit of hate, I suppose, with the Pulverize, but it's also for Pulverize. It's not a real ultimate. It's 28 seconds. It's going to be back up, really. I think that's where Primal Beast is still just pretty insane. All of his spells being that short cooldown, but is very fun. Totally just looking for the deny, and did get it.
Okay.
Nicely timed, but aside from that, still losing a lot, still having to concede a lot, and currently Fade is set up in the bottom lane, just trying to keep some pressure on by cutting those lanes or even just pushing the lanes in, but without the Skyreth Mage, they also should know that that is pretty weak. There is just a Soul Axe bottom. As soon as they know where that Skyreth Mage is, they know that, well, if the Axe isn't here, then we can just hit.
And Heiko makes the jump, trying to get onto the Enchantress. Trample comes in, and they will find that first kill. You want to be a little bit careful, though, because, yeah, Heiko needs to get out. Okay. Onslaught allows him to escape. Meanwhile, I think they're going to clean up the Tombstone here. Yeah. Usolji at least gets that out of the way, but their tier 3 ET is still getting hit up. Dropped below half HP. TP coming in now from Fade. Does he make a move? If he does, they're only really going to be able to get onto this Clinks who has Aegis to work with, so it's a rough call. Oh, he's going to try for it. There's going to be the taunt. Pulling him back, but that is a ranged hero, so the Clinks doesn't really move that much, but they still get the Mystic Flare down. First life going to be taken. And just the first life, I suppose. But hey, the racks are still up. That's something.
Yeah, and I feel like no runes should also just look for the backup to where there's no sense in sticking around here where they can actually lose mini. And with the Clinks just immediately showing towards bottom, they could just smoke up, look for a kill top, look to see if your opponents are getting greedy. But that's where the TPs, they're coming through. They should know what's up as well, so it will just be a full retreat. And the reason, of course, that they can't stick around that long is really just comes back down to the Primal Beast, just using his BKB for what was just an Enchantress kill, which then respawned very quickly, which then resulting in your push dying, as you couldn't really do anything to fall upon that Aegis. But I do like this smoke, and they smoke to the side of the map that they know that the Clinks is playing on, so they really are just gunning for that kill, but that's where you already have heroes in front of him, so gotta be really careful with how the smoke breaks up here. Otherwise, again, you're stuck in the Tombstone, and there we go. It breaks. He guesses.
Guesses wrong, though, and now can he get out? Arrow's gonna connect,
Nope.
just free fired into the Sunstrike. That's about as easy a kill as you are going to find, and now the rest of the team has to run.
No, Felt just felt way too much of the pressure there, I suppose, because That is a pretty big mistake and a huge gamble to make, but no runes are also just not giving him any opportunity. That was just very nice to move the entire lineup down there, not getting greedy, but the smoke was also probably a good 15, 20 seconds later than I think could realistically catch Mini off guard, but I still feel like Felt are a little bit shaken, and I think that's a BKB used up top. Yep, was afraid of the counterplay coming in from the Invoker, so now no BKB on Lena is a position that Solji has been in before, where suddenly he's just a ranged creep. He is now not really going to be able to help his team all too well. He's just another hero to put maybe damage into Fade's call, but he is not scary in the slightest now.
And all hands on deck here for this high ground defense as Heiko pops the BKB. Didn't get a Pulverize in. He's going to onslaught himself onto the Enchantress instead. Poor Staff, though. Going to get the Enchantress out of trouble. And now, well, Paradise is going to hold the front line. His own BKB gets popped in there, so both teams using up a few resources. But if you're Felt, you hold the high ground. Fade, that's a little bit greedy. Tried to clear out the creep wave. It's going to cost him his life. Gleipnir catches, and that's a problem. Fade has buyback, though, so they can get him back in here, but can actually kill anyone. As Heiko's going to get the Pulverize down. There's the Sunstrike coming in. The Warden gets taken out. Buyback immediately. Fade's going to rejoin the fight as well, using his own buyback. And now no runes are going to just try and pull it back, but Mini got stunned up. Is there any save for him? No, there isn't. But Guts did just pick up a pair of kills there, so it's still a bit of an awkward one for Felt, but once again, they hold.
Yeah, and they pull the gem out. Have to be careful because you've got another Pulverize if they want to, and getting cogged up there. Cannot go any forward on Heiko. Has to be a little bit more cautious now. Doesn't want to give anything away, but 2 buybacks. You do hold. You don't lose any cores either. Sunstrike?
Oh. Yeah, tip that man. There you go. It's, that is unfortunate if you're the Warden, because he was one of the heroes to buy back, so he now gets to sit here and be both broke and dead for the next 50 seconds.
He's going to sit there, ruminate on how many ways he could have survived that Sunstrike, but yeah, not a bad hold, though. They just run out of 4 staffs to get the Clinks out of that situation. Wasn't able to break up the Blank Dagger from the Axe either, so they get their man, but question is, will that end up mattering enough here? Because simply, you get a Satanic, you get a Daedalus, you get a BKB, and then anybody that tries to walk up to you is still just dying. And with that buyback coming in from the Axe, your Blink Dagger just gets further, or rather, your BKB just gets further and further away. You're still struggling to make those casual plays where you just want pickoff so badly. You just want your opponents to split up, but they just simply aren't, which is becoming more and more of a stressor for him. Not to mention Heiko going for the Aghanim Scepter on Primal Beast. We've seen it a few times now, but honestly, it's a hard Ags to appraise. Kind of feels insane, especially the damage that it can do just casually in a team fight, and will be an easy way for them to maybe kill the Enchantress. But also, Roche, yet again, 15 seconds. Roche timers are just insane this weekend here as well. There you go, the jump.
Paradise, this is a little risky. BKB is going to wear off. He's just going to try and ult his way out, and
Own Heiko.
that works out okay. Heiko, meanwhile, yeah, what was that? He just dropped the gem too, so gem hits the deck. Bit of an awkward exchange, but a Gleipnir comes in. 4 staff, though, getting Paradise away. Fade, meanwhile, Fade needs backup right now because he's just getting chunked down. Does he make it back into the base? He does, but Honey's going to chase him. I don't know if he's got the damage. Yes, he does. Okay. The right clicks get the job done. He is almost certainly going to die for it now, but Fade's one of those heroes who doesn't have buyback, so this is going to turn into a very awkward defense, especially if Solji gets picked. The Deafening Blast hit him up, but Guts goes a little bit too far to get that Deafening Blast, and he is going to go down.
No, a wee bit of miscommunication there. They end up tornadoing the Gleipnir. They don't get the kill that they were diving so hard for, and it's Ancient Seal after Ancient Seal. The silences are just a little bit too obnoxious, and there you go. Nice time-ups there to survive the Clinks, so now Mini just has to leave the fight as the only survivor on his team. And sure, you lose the Axe again, but I think he sold his Vanguard to buy his BKB because he was sick of it. I was wondering how he got the gold to actually get that item, but says, yeah, I am done with this game, but a huge turn of events for Felt.
They did end up losing a little bit more of their base. The ranged Rax was finished mid, but the melee's still standing. That's going to be the all-important factor here is Mini. Yeah, he's going to go in for a kill. Mystic Flare is going to do some damage to him. Can Paradise actually turn this around? Because the silence is still there. Mini, can he... Oh my god, can he hold? Yeah, that's a lot of damage, and he might just take down both. Paradise has to ult to get himself away, and he might still lose. Mini, one more hit? No, he's not going to get it, so they do take him down, but... ET, that was a 1v3 that Mini almost won.
Yeah, but back into the pit. They've got the Weaver bug. They have the full Daedalus on Solji. He's
Oh.
just killing it by himself, and
Okay.
unless they check it, they're not going
Sunstrike.
to know. The Sunstrike's going to come in.
Arrow.
Don't get arrowed. Okay.
Okay. Well, he may still go down, or maybe not. No, Heiko actually got the pulverize canceled immediately, but here comes Hane into the fight. Looking for something. EMP comes through, so Solji has no mana.
Ooh.
And he is going to go down, but he got Guts first. What is happening, ET? It's slowly but surely starting to inch. Well, maybe not quite towards even, but in that direction. Look at all the gold that they've just sort of lopped off of that deficit already. If you're no runes, it's time to kind of hunker down, boys. We are losing a lot of momentum here.
Yeah, no, they just keep on turning a lot of these engagements into 1v2s, 2v3s. They just never have the man advantage, mainly because they're so obsessed with chasing around the Weaver or just trying to get a nice early combo from your Primal Beast. But in doing so, these heroes, they get their Mega Beast Force, they die so early. And of course, that Roche is just a stroke of genius there from Solji, knowing that he can force the issue, but they're bleeding everywhere. And now the items are actually done, and especially for the core is you have a full Satanic on the Lina, you've got a Gleipnir, you've got a full Linken's on Paradise. I mean, no runes have thrown away pretty much everything at this point, and, well, I think 5 minutes ago we were looking at a pretty sick Satanic timing from Mini, but 5 minutes now, well, your item progression has just been smashed wide open, and sure, you're a very tanky Clinks, but without an Aegis, I don't know how you approach the high ground versus Lina. I feel like no runes have really lost their easy win now. They're going to have to do some heroics to get this back under control.
Yep. I mean, what was a net worth lead in the, what, like 10, 12k, 15k, according to the chart, is now less than 5,000. So, oh, things have gone very, very wrong if you're no runes. And now, well, ET, what's the game plan, right? Sort of, if you're no runes, how do you try and get yourself not back into it, but back up to the level of control that you had before?
I genuinely, not to say I don't know, but it'll never be the same now. You have to now look at every single fight, and Fade is now a threat. The man who sold his Vanguard to desperately buy a BKB is back to being a killer. The man with one stack of Culling Blade is going to be the one that kills you, because the cores are just now suddenly on equal footing with your Clinks. And really, the rest of the lineup is still not as strong, and the Warden is kind of in over his head here, but...
Gleipnir. There's going to be the taunt. Where's the follow-up damage? Paradise is coming in. Heiko's in trouble. Mini's trying to fire away with the barrage too, and Heiko, he actually did manage to live. He is doing a fair bit of damage as Fade goes down. Now they've got the Lina caught in the pulverize. Can they finish off Solji? He's going to pop the Satanic, but he's not healing enough, or maybe he is. Look at him go. Healing back up, fighting his way through this. Can he win against Mini, though? No, he can't. Solji will fall. He made him work for it, but he does get taken down. So Paradise is the last man standing as the Enchantress gets picked off as well. He kills Hane, but now he's got to try and buy some time because no one on the team has buyback.
Yeah, that jump from Fade, it just wasn't it. You got a lot of damage onto Heiko early on, but the BKB comes out, the ult comes out, everything comes through, and then you run your Lina through hell. She had to do so much legwork there just to connect onto your play, but in doing so, you end up on the low ground versus a Klings who is simply just sitting there right-clicking you. Not pretty. And now, of course, you were playing up until this point super confidently. Of course you're not playing with buyback, so 400 away for the Lina. And despite not having an Aegis, this is a high ground push that I don't think you can contend with. You can't go into Skeletons, you can't go into that Tombstone. And really, without Solji, you just can't defend. This should only be, I think, a single melee Rax here. I think they will decide to back off, or if anything, very patiently try and get this mid tower. This mid Rex is a little bit more sketchy, but I guess they feel confident enough to make it with 15 seconds. And Aiko, ooh,
That was a weird one. Very quickly realizes maybe I've gone too far and backs himself out. Forces Fade's BKB, however, that is a benefit at the end of the day. Heiko just kind of going too far, but nobody's going to punish him.
nope, nobody punishes you. You get to walk out. Really just, again, not too bad for no runes, but where they still do have to respect Solji. You still have to respect this Lena who can still win the matchup and beat you up. Just maybe can't deal with the Scotty slow any further, but you can get on top of Mini first. That'll be great stuff. In Paradise, the DD rune, he's a nuisance, but getting kited.
Tornado hits him up. Gonna get caught out immediately, so he falls back, but here comes no runes. Well, actually, maybe not. Moonlight Shadow is gonna start wearing off here as this is a weird sort of arrangement around the pit. Yeah, this is not good. The Axe tries to jump in. Fade's gonna get blown up immediately. And what else can they do? Solji activates the BKB, gets the Laguna onto Mini, but with the Satanics just coming out from both sides,
no.
this isn't going well. Solji in some trouble. He's going to run out of that Satanic right about now. Can they actually finish him off? Not quite yet. But at this point, Mini just handles it alone. I mean, Serem was with him, but the rest of the lineup just continues to push on. They don't have to worry anymore in Paradise. That's not safe. That is a
Flickered
cliff.
up there. Oh no.
Of all the places the Flicker could put you, that is the one that's going to hurt the most. Of course, they do now have money for buybacks, ET, so could see one last attempt. One buyback from Solji, one from the Enchantress. They are trying to hold on Paradise, but at this point, they're going for tier 4s. There is no way Paradise waits out an 80-second death timer.
No, they're trying for it. They need to find their way onto the Clinks, but make sure he
Jump.
doesn't get a Satanic off.
Lynx is going to get silenced, going to get taunted. Does he get that Satanic? Yes, he does. All the way back up, and this fight is over. And there it is. The GG will be called. No runes. Pull it out, ET. Got a little bit dangerous at one point there, but they're able to close it.
Oh, yeah. Got dicey. Second row, Soji makes an incredible play, but then felt just kind of lose the plot a little bit. And then when you're supposed to rely on the heroes that have been falling behind further and further, Axe did have to sell his Vanguard to get a BKB. Orion was not doing too hot. That combo just did not pan out for him. And then, unfortunately, they'd just take that one really bad fight where Soldier's just running through zombies. He's running through all of the Clink skeletons. And then you just end up in a 1v1